IDs are late, but you could do whatever you want.
Yeah.
There's no, get this going. Okay, good evening, everybody, and welcome to this regular planning board meeting on March 26, 2026. I don't know why this is flashing already. I think I screwed up the entire PA system at the last meeting, and I don't think it's ever going to be better again. Can everybody who can please stand and join us for the Pledge of Allegiance? To the flag of the United States of America, to the republic which stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Madam Secretary, can you please read the Open Public Meetings Act and take roll?
Yeah, they're all back.
The notice requirements of the Open Public Meetings Act have been satisfied with respect to this meeting of the Township of Verona Planning Board, which is being held in the ballroom of the Verona Community Center located at 880 Bloomfield Avenue, Verona. Specifically, the time and date were included in the annual notice of meetings. This information, along with the meeting agenda, was posted in the municipal building and on the legal notices webpage of the Township website, and sent to the official newspapers of the Township, the Verona Cedar Grove Times, and the Star Ledger at least 48 hours preceding the start time of this meeting. The agenda and public handouts for this meeting can be viewed online at the Township's website. Instructions on how to comment will be provided at the appropriate time. Those wishing to speak during any public comment period should only provide their name and municipality. Street addresses are not required. Please be advised that should a member of the public choose to state their street address, it will not be redacted from this recording.
Thank you.
Mr. Magaro?
Here.
Mr. Day? Mrs. Parker? Mr. Lilly?
Here.
Mr. Camuti?
Here.
Mr. Fresky?
Here.
Township Manager O'Sullivan?
Here.
Deputy Mayor McAvoy?
Present.
Mayor Tamburo? Vice Chair Hyman?
Here.
Chair Pearson?
Here.
Board Attorney Macera?
Here.
Dr. Gonzalez?
Here.
Ms. Tanweer? Here. And Ms. Nish is left. And Sam? Ms. Siobhan?
Okay, at this time, we will open public participation for anything that is not on this evening's agenda. Does anybody have a comment on anything that is not on this evening's agenda? Seeing none, I'm going to close public comment. We will move right into approval of meeting minutes. We will be passing 2 sets of meeting minutes, February 26th and the special meeting from March 3rd. Has everybody received and had a chance to review those? Can we pass them both together?
No.
Okay. That's right, because people might not have been there. Would anybody like to make a motion to adopt the February 26th meeting minutes?
I'll move to adopt.
I guess Mr. Lilly seconds. Roll call, please.
Mr. Lilly?
Yes.
Mr. Camuti?
Yes.
Mr. Fresky?
I don't know which one I wasn't.
Yeah, I'm sorry, you were absent for that
Yeah,
meeting.
okay.
Township Manager O'Sullivan?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor McAvoy?
Yes.
Mayor Tamburo? Vice Chair Hyman?
Yes.
Chair Pearson?
Yes. The motion passes. The meeting minutes are approved. I'll now entertain a motion to approve the meeting minutes from the special meeting of March 3rd. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Deputy Mayor makes the motion. Can I get a second?
Second.
Mr. Lilly seconds. Roll call, please.
Mr. Lilly,
Yes.
Mr. Kamudi,
Yes.
Mr. Fresky,
Yes.
Township Manager O'Sullivan,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor McAvoy,
Yes.
Vice Chair Heineman,
Abstain.
and Chair Pearson.
Yes. Minutes are approved and they are adopted. A consistency determination. The amendment of zoning chapter 157.5 permanent and portable swimming pools and 157.13 mechanical equipment. Basically, we have Greg rewrite these, send it to the council. The council accepted them, and did the council make any updates to those?
Not substantive, no.
Madam Chair.
Yeah,
One change was pertaining to, I believe we have in here something about generators. Not permitted within a side yard, we added front yards also, just to be specific.
okay. Does anybody have any issue with that? Okay. Being that we sent it to the council to adopt in the first place, I will entertain a motion to find, do we have to do these separately?
Is there two different resolutions? Yes.
It's one resolution.
No, one resolution, no.
Okay. Entertain a motion
Oh,
to,
I'm sorry. Yes, first to vote on it and then to pass the resolution.
yes, but in mass. Both are rolled,
Two sections of the ordinance.
two sections of the
Yes,
ordinance
absolutely.
in one vote. Okay,
Yes.
so I will entertain a motion to find both of those sections consistent with our master plan. Can I get,
I'll make the motion.
Mr. Hyman, Vice Chair Hyman makes the motion. Can I get a second?
Second.
Mr. Fresky seconds. Roll call, please.
Mr. Magarel,
Yes.
Mr. Lilly,
Yes.
Mr. Kamudi,
Yes.
Mr. Fresky,
Yes.
Township Manager O'Sullivan,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor McAvoy,
Yes.
Vice Chair Heineman,
Yes.
Chair Pearson.
Yes. Motion passes. I will now, I will entertain a motion to adopt the resolution 2026-15 that states that we are sending this to the governing body, finding these sections consistent with the master plan. This is in your packets.
I'll make the motion to approve the
Okay.
resolution as drafted.
Okay, Vice Chair Hyman makes the motion. Can I get a second? I'll second it. Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Magarel,
Yes.
Mr. Lilly,
Yes.
Mr. Kamudi,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor McAvoy,
Yes.
Township Manager O'Sullivan,
Yes.
and Vice Chair Hyman,
Yes.
and Chair Pearson.
Yes.
I think it's good.
Okay,
Oh,
so,
Mr. Fresky.
Yes.
yes? Okay.
I think you were absent though on the 23rd.
Yeah, but this is today's,
This is
That's
today.
this is a today thing.
Okay.
Yeah, and I just wanted to clarify that because I checked my notes and I was here on the 26th of February and I was not here on March 3rd.
Oh,
Can you flip his vote?
yes.
Thank you, Dave. I'm going to boot the table, the subcommittee updates for this evening. Is that okay? And move right along to the updated bylaws. Has everybody received a copy of the updated bylaws?
Yes.
The only thing missing from those is a reference to Chapter 55 in our code that lays out the regulations for the Township of Verona regarding the planning and the zoning board. I think that should be cited where the X's are. I think,
That was a placeholder. I just wanted to make sure that there were no other portions of any of our ordinances that reference planning board and zoning board, and I just hadn't had a chance to do that. So that was just a placeholder. So we can obviously easily fill that in once I have that opportunity.
Does anybody have an issue with that?
No issue with that. I just have 3 comments
Sure.
on it. The first one's, again, great job putting this together. 1:2-3, responsibilities of the secretary. There was the designation of the secretary for completeness review, and just administratively, does Dee Dee do that already, or is it Kathleen?
Is it sort of a dual effort?
Want to,
I take in the applications.
okay. But do you communicate the completeness after review?
Yes.
Okay, all right. No issue there then.
Number 2?
Number 2, 1:3-11, communications outside of meetings. So paragraph B, it says, once an application is submitted to the board, no board member shall in any manner or form engage in any discussion or communicate in any manner with a member of the public about the topic of any application before the board except during a public meeting. I would just recommend changing topic to, discussing the substance and the merits, because topic could be,
Yeah.
hey, are you hearing this? Yes. If you want to come, it's this date,
Okay.
So I would just
You sent me
clarify
a
that.
note saying.
Sure,
It's,
sure.
I think
No,
it's,
I got it. Right.
okay.
And then the last one, 2:2-3, it talks about the procedure. I would like a provision about any exhibits that are submitted, that aren't submitted in advance, they be provided digitally after the meeting.
That's a great,
That's a great,
That's it. It's a
I
great
should have thought
addition.
of that, because most towns now require that,
Mhm.
so.
Right, okay.
so once they're handed out, they
Right.
need to also be submitted to our kind of.
As part of the application, actually.
Yeah,
I mean, yeah, I would prefer that they get done in advance, but exhibits sometimes can't be submitted in advance.
Okay,
But
so we'll
if
change
they
it.
are, right, they should be submitted digitally.
Right.
If they're not submitted in advance, they should have handouts for the board.
yes. Agreed.
Easy to do, good idea, thank you.
No problem, that's it.
Any other comments or questions regarding this? If not, I'll entertain a motion to adopt these new bylaws. And once done, Dee Dee, we're going to have to re-notice to start our meeting at 7 PM, starting in April. Okay?
Mhm.
Okay.
To adopt, Madam Chair, as modified, and
Yes,
the modifications will simply be ministerial.
Right,
in
okay,
nature.
great. So I'll make the motion to approve these bylaws as amended during this discussion.
I'll second it.
Mr. Magarel?
Yes.
Mr. Lilly?
Yes.
Mr. Kamudi?
Yes.
Mr. Fresky?
Yes.
Township Manager O'Sullivan?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor McAvoy?
Yes.
Vice Chair Heineman?
Yes.
Chair Pearson?
Yes. All right. The bylaws are adopted. Next thing, we move right to Sam for the hearing of an area in need of redevelopment for 251.5 Grove Avenue. Please, it's all yours, Sam.
Thank you. Can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Kind of.
Okay, I'll be a little louder. So as you know, 251.5 Grove Avenue area need of development investigation. Since the past 3 months, we've done quite a few of these back to back. So as you know, the area in need of redevelopment is governed by the local redevelopment and housing law. This is the site which is off of Grove Avenue. The Township Council authorized us to do this, and it would be a non-condemnation redevelopment, so no eminent domain or involuntary takings. The study area, as I mentioned, is off of Grove Avenue. It's surrounded by the commercial complex, single-family residential in yellow, and our wastewater treatment plant along its easterly border. The redevelopment criteria, I'm just simplifying here just to remind everyone. There are about 8 criteria. A for substandard buildings, B for abandoned non-residential, C for public or vacant unimproved land, D for dilapidated areas of deleterious land use, E conditions of title ownership, F natural hazards, G urban enterprise zone area, and H smart growth planning. And the redevelopment law describes it in great detail. I'm just keeping it short because we've done this numerous times. So as I mentioned, it's located on Grove Avenue. It's a county road that connects downtown Verona to Cedar Grove. It's within the community C2 zone, and the redevelopment designation is aligned with the township's planning goals. And one other thing just to bring to everyone's attention is that this was one of the affordable housing sites that we had reached a settlement, and in that we will, this is the redevelopment route. It satisfies for sure, but through the redevelopment plan, we have a greater control over the development of the land. Typical to our redevelopment investigations, we looked at the tax map, accident reports, code violations, DEP data, everything, and we conducted 3 site visits. On February 5th when we went, it was snowed in, we couldn't even open the gate. 19th, we could open the gate, but it was still covered. And then March 12th, so a few weeks ago, we went again when everything had melted. So it kind of like you'll see, if you've gone through the study, it's extensive coverage of just how, awful the conditions are on site. So this key map is basically, when we were writing the master plan in 2021-22, we had gone on site, and as you can see in here, it's an old aerial. It was covered with all outdoor storage, which as a part of their settlement agreement with the township, which I included in Appendix A, they cleared it, but it's still, it has been vacant for long and abandoned, and it just shows very evident signs of deterioration. So I basically didn't include a lot of pictures. You all have seen it. It's so these are a few pictures as you enter. It's throughout the site. You can see internal buildings, how they're in a bad shape, and that's why it satisfies far more criterion than any of our prior studies. So it meets criterion A because it focuses on the physical condition of the buildings. It's applicable to properties where the generality of the buildings are substandard, unsafe, dilapidated, obsolescent, or lacking in light, air, or space. It's conducive to unwholesome living or working conditions. And if you look at all the pictures and our description, I've explained step by step how it meets criteria A. So moving on to the next criterion, which is B. This focuses on the discontinuance or vacancy of one or multiple buildings that were previously used for commercial and industrial purposes. And in general, properties that meet this criterion has been vacant for at least 2 consecutive years and has been allowed to fall into a great state of disrepair as to be untenantable. As per the representative for the owner, they say they've been vacant, and they had just leased out the outdoor space for more than 10 years. But again, that's hearsay. We are basing it also on the fact that we have a settlement agreement since 2022 to not use these sites. So it meets that criteria as well. And then last but not the least, which is criterion D, which is at the outside as well as inside of the buildings. And basically this property meets this criterion because it's being used in a manner inconsistent with modern land use planning standards and practices. Finally, this study, again, it satisfies criterion A because there's neglect, there's severe deterioration based on the exterior and interior conditions of the buildings and overall substandard conditions, and it represents the discontinuance of all the buildings previously used for commercial and industrial purposes. They've remained vacant for at least 2 consecutive years, and it really was very unsafe even to walk through these buildings, let's put it that way. And overall, the study area represents obsolete site layout, poor site circulation, and disrepair, dilapidation. The entire site is covered with impervious gravel as well as asphalt, very poor site circulation, so it also satisfies criterion D. Now, criterion H really has no weightage by itself, but almost the entirety of the township of Verona is in the metropolitan planning area 1, which is designated as the state's preferred vehicle for redevelopment. So that's why I've also included that criterion. So finally, based on my report and based on all the appendices, I would recommend that the planning board does make a recommendation to the governing body to designate the property as a non-condemnation area in need of redevelopment. And I am ready to answer any questions if the board would have any.
Thank you, Sam. I just have a question. So as of now, we don't know if any of the contamination that in the adjacent property has leached over into this property, is that correct?
We don't know for sure, but they have monitoring wells, which I think I've written in my report, and it's our understanding, we looked at the DEP data, it's our understanding that it is due to potential soil contamination. But whatever was there existing on this particular site has been remediated.
On this site?
Yes, on 251 and a half.
Have you heard from any of the neighbors, or did you contact anyone about?
We don't need to, we're not required to contact
Okay,
anyone.
fine. I don't.
And to be honest with you, if I were a neighbor, I would rather see something.
Well, yeah,
I wouldn't know.
yeah, just wondering if.
If you look at few of those pictures, you can actually see how close they are to the residential single family homes.
Few is too many.
Question said, you did a pretty comprehensive review of municipal records, there's a substantial history of police reports and police activity at the site, some indications of break-ins and things like that. With the site, being vacant for so long, and I did see some pictures, but they don't tell the full story, but based on your inspection, was there evidence or physical conditions indicative of vagrancy or anything like
Oh,
that?
yes, it
Yeah.
was. And I have pictures. There's one disgusting picture that I will not want to talk about. But, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It's
It's in the report. if anyone wants to
and my
see.
report is very sanitized. There were a lot of vulgarities. It's just like, oh God.
Thank you.
Thank you for braving it. Any other questions? So at this point, I don't think there is any question about the veracity of your report. I would entertain a motion to recommend to the governing body that this be determined as an area in need of redevelopment based on subsection A, B, D, and H.
Madam Chair, just that it qualifies, that in the board's determination that it qualifies.
Okay, thank you.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Fresky moves. Vice Chair Heineman seconds. Can we get a roll call, please?
Madam Chair,
Yes.
point of order, did we need to engage the public on this before we move on this?
You're very, hold that. That being said, no?
I don't believe so, but I did.
Well, if any members, I'd rather err on the side of conservative and be safe. If any members of the
Yes.
public, and I apologize to the members of the public that I left them out. Any members of the public have any comments on this, please approach the mic. Seeing none, we will close public comment on this. And again, apologies. Dee Dee, can you please call roll?
Mr. Magarel?
Yes.
Mr. Lilly?
Yes.
Mr. Kamudi?
Yes,
Mr. Fresky?
Yes.
Township Manager O'Sullivan?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor McAvoy?
Yes.
Vice Chair Heineman?
Yes.
Chair Pearson?
Yes. Motion passes. I will now also entertain a motion to adopt Resolution 2026-16, which ordains this in our own way, stating very much the same as we just voted, but now we're passing a resolution that says it. So everybody received this resolution today. Can I get a motion to adopt this resolution?
I'll make that motion.
Mr. Kamudi makes the motion. Can I get a second?
Second.
Vice Chair Hyman seconds. Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Magarel?
Yes.
Mr. Lilly?
Yes.
Mr. Kamudi?
Yes,
Mr. Fresky?
Yes.
Township Manager O'Sullivan?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor McAvoy?
Yes.
Vice Chair Heineman?
Yes.
Chair Pearson?
Yes. And just a correction, these are not memorializations, these are actual resolutions. Both 26, 15, and 16 are top day. So they're not memorializing anything, they're,
Well, the resolutions memorialize the action.
okay, then leave it.
Right, right.
I sit corrected. I usually see
The
that
resolutions are-
follow-up.
The resolutions are, well,
Okay.
I see what you're saying.
Okay, doesn't matter. It's fine, leave it. At this time, we are going to begin the hearing for application 2026-01 for 83 Bloomfield Avenue, Block 708, Lot 1.
Madam Chair, while they're setting up, I have reviewed the notice that was published and that was served. The application was deemed complete, notice is proper, so the applicant may proceed.
Okay? Thank you.
Yeah, please. Thank you.
Are we ready, Madam Chair? Yes, okay. For the record, my name is Lisa John Boston. I'm with the law firm Keys, Shahinian and Jance Mossy, on behalf of the applicant. The property that's before you this evening is the property at the corner of Bloomfield Avenue and Park Avenue, also known as 383 Bloomfield Avenue, and I'm sure a lot of people just simply refer to it as the Hillcrest Farms property. The applicant, the Peloso Family LLC, has been a long-standing pillar of the community for many years, owning and operating Hillcrest Farms for over 70 years. The application that is before you tonight is their next venture. The application is seeking preliminary and final site plan approval in order to construct a 4-story mixed-use building with approximately 4,050 square feet of commercial space on the first floor. I will note for any of those that were sad to think that Hillcrest Farms will not be occupying that corner anymore. Don't be. They will have space within the building for their retail nursery, so you will see those pretty flowers as you round the corner. There will also be 33 residential units on the upper floors. They will be a combination of 1 bedrooms, 2 bedrooms, and 3 bedrooms. And in true Peloso family fashion, they are giving back to the community. Out of the 33 units, there will be two units with a total of 5 special needs bedrooms and 1 3-family affordable unit for a total eligibility of 11 credits for the municipality for affordable housing. As the board is well aware, this property was designated as an area in need of redevelopment. A redevelopment plan was adopted. The application that's before you tonight is a fully conforming site plan application with the exception of a design waiver for landscaping. There was also a notation that there was a variance for the retaining wall. However, we will come into compliance with that, and our next witness will discuss that in greater detail. Tonight, we intend to call 2 witnesses, Paul Anderson, who's our civil engineer, as well as Greg Schweitzer, who is the project architect. We also have in attendance our traffic engineer to answer any questions related to his report that he submitted in advance of tonight's meeting. So if it's okay with the chairwoman, I'd like to call our first witness and have him sworn.
Yes, and I just want to say, we apologize, like our mics aren't working. You have a perfect voice for this room, you fill it. But I'm going to ask that any other witnesses that speak, see if you can try to be as loud as possible so that your speech is picked up by our lacking system.
Can you state your full name and business address for the record, please?
Paul W. Anderson, 40 Miller Drive, Boonton, New Jersey.
Mr. Anderson, can you raise your right hand? Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Paul, very briefly, can you give your educational and professional background for the board?
I have a Bachelor of Science in Civil Engineering from Clarkson University in 1983. Licensed professional engineer since 1988. My license is in good standing. I'm the principal of Anderson Consulting Services who prepared these plans, and I testify on a regular basis in front of boards such as this board throughout the state of New Jersey.
I have to be qualified as an expert in civil engineering.
Anyone have any issue? No.
Thank you. And Paul, you were the preparer of the civil engineering plans and the stormwater reports, soil borings, and all the civil engineering documents that were submitted in advance of tonight's meeting. Is that correct?
Yes, I was.
Okay. If we can then, start by orienting the board to the property location and the existing uses.
Okay, so it's a 1.26 acre parcel on the corner of Park Avenue and Bloomfield Avenue. You can see from the aerial photograph that I have in the PowerPoint presentation that is a fully developed site. It has 68% impervious coverage, meaning roofs and asphalt. Some of the area in the back that probably used to be asphalt is now gravel, hard packed gravel. I did not count that towards the impervious. The buffer on the eastern side is de minimis. It's probably about 3.5 feet. There are 2 full movement driveways that enter the property from Bloomfield Avenue. And in that section, going across 2 lanes could be a hazardous condition with the full movement. We have 1 access drive on Park Avenue behind the main building. And to the west of this is, to the east and south are multi-family apartments. And to the west is a single family, and to the north is commercial, which is within the underlying zone, the extended town center zone. The property generally slopes from northeast to southwest, or from the eastern corner of Bloomfield Avenue towards the far corner on Park Avenue. And as just already mentioned, this is an area of redevelopment, designated area of redevelopment.
Do you want to go into a little bit more detail about the existing structures on the property?
Sure. We have the main building on the corner. This is from the demolition plan. Basically, everything on site is going to be removed. They'll remove the main building on the corner. The canopy over towards the east of that, and all the greenhouses and storage buildings. The asphalt on site will all be removed, and the site will be entirely regraded for the new project. We do propose removing the sidewalk on Bloomfield Avenue. It will be replaced as part of the new construction, and will be built in accordance with the standards that are being promulgated for sidewalks in Verona.
Okay, speaking to the new development, briefly, if you can testify to the bulk standard.
Okay, so we have a totally conforming application in the zone with the exception of the one design waiver. This is the zone table that's in the plans, and you can see that it meets lot area, density, width. All the setbacks are met for all the buildings. The impervious coverage is met. The building heights are met. Parking is met. We have 63 parking spaces proposed on the project on site, and we also have 3 on the street. With regard to the parking, we have what is going to be 9 EV parking stations. We are required to have 15% total eventually, 5% currently built, and the rest is ready. But we are going to, we had proposed 7 in our plans. We're going to change that to 9 based on comments from the planner, and build those with the original build and only have 2 as make ready. 3 of the spaces that we have are ADA spaces. We've made them all van accessible spaces with an 8-foot access aisle between them. And the one waiver that is associated with this application is the side yard buffer on the eastern side, where it's 11.5 feet, where 15 feet is required. I'll go over why in the next slides.
Just
And
showing them.
on the easel and also on the screen is a rendition of the proposed building. You can see the building itself is a very attractive brick building. You can see the stone, the loose laid stone wall, which is the same type of wall that we have out there today, but it is in a slightly different location, just reconstructed, similar height. You also can see in this, the sign that's on the corner, the Hillcrest Farm sign, which is also going to be moved back slightly, so it's total conformance. It's 21 square feet of area, which is conforming, and it will be set back 5 feet. The next exhibit is the site plan exhibit. As we mentioned, it's a 4-story mixed-use building with 4,050 square feet of commercial space on the first floor, relatively small, and 33 residences above. We are proposing to build a new sidewalk on Bloomfield Avenue. We also will be building a sidewalk on the first portion of Park Avenue from the corner, from the existing ADA ramp down to just past the proposed driveway. That will complete the circulation pattern through that area. Right now, there's no sidewalk for that first section of Park Avenue. The sidewalk that's going to be on Bloomfield Avenue will be to the new standard that was mentioned to us in the technical review committee meeting. We just need the details of that to add to the plan. We proposed 1 driveway to Bloomfield Avenue. It would be a right turn out, no entrance. So that would be a safer traffic circumstance because there wouldn't be someone turning left and crossing the roadway. One of the reasons that we need the relief for the landscape buffer on that area, the 11.5 versus 15, is the requirement in the ordinance of the site triangle. Having the site triangle on that plan, I don't know if you can zoom in on that. There's a little triangle there, which is the ordinance requirement. You're not allowed to have vertical elements in that triangle. In order to do that, I had to slide the driveway slightly to the left, approximately 3.5 feet. So that's why we are requesting that. Now, in terms of that particular relief, it is only for that small driveway area there. The rest of the site has 15-foot of buffer around it, meeting the minimum requirement. Also in that area, you have the driveway to the neighboring property right there. it's not like where buffer is up against the building. There's a little bit of buffer on the neighboring property, which is their driveway.
And Paul, just on that note, sorry if I'm jumping ahead, but there was a fence that was going to be repurposed in this area, and now the applicant is going to propose to do board-on-board fencing at, board-on-board at 6 foot tall, is that correct?
Right, we were noted that we should move the fence onto our property, so we called for on our plans moving of the existing chain link fence. But that was brought to our attention that it should be a board-on-board fence, and we will be removing the existing and using a board-on-board fence instead.
So in addition to the landscaping that's proposed there, we will also have more shielding of any light or glare to the neighboring with that fencing, is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay, sorry, keep going.
So the project itself has excellent pedestrian and ADA circulation. After you're come off the sidewalk on Bloomfield Avenue, the entire lower area, the patio around the building, the commercial area of the building is all accessible. The sidewalks around the back of the building are accessible. The parking for commercial will be signed during business hours. Some of the spaces behind the building for commercial, and the access will be to the back of the building, unless you want to walk around to the front. And so there's excellent circulation. We also have a crosswalk that goes from the building over to the garden area, where Pat will have some display. Also has a dual purpose where the residents can actually use this area to enjoy the green space. There's going to be some park benches, some waste receptacles, and I believe I have one, dog bag. Dog waste kiosk or whatever you want to call it in there for people who want to have, who forgot theirs upstairs. So we have that. The next thing we have is the parking under the building and just outside the building. In the light gray is the area where it's outside the building. The light green is the not building, but parking under the building. And all those parking spaces are of the required size, 9 by 18. As I mentioned before, the ADA is van accessible 8-foot wide space with an 8-foot wide access aisle. We have also parking for bicycles. We have bike parking outside near the back of that patio area. We also have indoor bike storage for the residents.
I was just on the vehicular parking. There was a comment in one of the review letters to identify the commercial spaces, and there will be signage for those commercial spaces, is that correct?
That's correct.
And the spaces will be spaces 1 through 8, and then 46 through 52, which are on-site, and then spaces 64 to 66, which are on-street, is that correct?
That is correct.
And has there been any communications to your awareness with the county with respect to signing those 3 spaces, particularly for this development site?
I don't know the outcome, but Pat has been in conversation with them to have them dedicated to the site. So.
And I can tell you that there have been good communications with the county, and they are willing to sign those 3 spaces for use by this particular development.
We have one loading space. With the commercial uses the size that we have, we don't feel we need a tractor trailer space. So we designated one as a daily loading space, which is, space 43. It's right. 45, and it's right next to the access walk to the garden area. That gives access, easy access to the commercial space. The way we view it is the users that are going to be in these spaces, which are small spaces, will have deliveries probably in their own vehicle, picking up things, but maybe in a street or van, which could park in a regular space.
And with respect to the deliveries, that there were discussions with the applicant related to the retail nursery, that there would be approximately 2 deliveries a week by van, a Sprinter van or a box truck, is that accurate?
That is correct.
And with respect to the 2 smaller commercial spaces, they're 1,500 square feet or less that we would anticipate, although then users not known, given the size of those spaces, that there would only be 2 to 3 Sprinter van type deliveries. Is that?
That's what we theorize, yeah, depending on the use, being small users, if it's, any of the permitted uses, would not require significant deliveries. There are the ability to use the spaces on the street for deliveries, but they would have to be scheduled with the management of the building. So for example, if somebody's moving into an apartment or moving out of an apartment and they have a bigger truck, they could park out there, provided they coordinated that with the building. It wouldn't be without that coordination. And it wouldn't be that frequent. Hopefully people move in and they stay for a while.
Garbage and recycling?
The garbage and recycling is a program that you probably haven't seen before. There is a trash room in the building where garbage and recycling will be kept. Staff from the building will take totes, 96-gallon totes on wheels that they will bring out to the what would be normally a dumpster area. It's going to be brick enclosed dumpster area, and without a dumpster, and they'll roll these totes in, and then roll an empty one from the storage area back to the building to collect additional garbage in the following days. We anticipate pickup of the garbage approximately 2 to 3 times a week. It's a private hauler. They have a smaller truck that is able to get through the building without any problem, and I believe the traffic engineer has provided turning templates that show that truck can actually navigate through the building. During garbage day, they would drive to where the dumpster area is. They would unload the totes into the truck and push the totes back into the dumpster enclosure.
And as far as hours of pickup, there was a comment that the pickup times would need to be before 7 a.m. and we can accommodate that?
Yes, we can.
And going back to the trash rooms, I believe there's trash rooms on every floor of the building, and on the first floor, there's also a compactor. I know you're not the architect, but we did have these discussions. Is that your understanding?
We did have these discussions, yes.
Thank you.
And the recycling totes, they're covered, so when they're full, they'll be sitting there covered waiting to be picked up, or they open.
Yeah, I'm not, if that's necessary, it can be.
I was thinking about vermin, right? They like to. All right.
Yeah, no, I mean, if there's, we don't want any nuisance, with this, so if there's a vermin problem, we definitely would cover it. The next on my list is snow removal. There's questions about snow removal. This being a fairly compact site, snow removal will be interesting. Some areas may be plowed, but a lot of this will be handwork, and Pat has solicited a proposal from the local contractor to actually do the work. Ensures that he can do it with handwork. The storage of the snow will be shoveled to the green areas at the perimeter of the site. And if it is a significant storm, has to be carted away, they can cart away the snow. What's important to understand here is that there's a large amount of roof area here where the snow is not going to come down, and there's just the gray area that you see on this plan that is areas that need to be shoveled and cleared. So it's not the same as a normal site development. And that's it. We have lighting for the project. It cuts off very well at the property lines. To the south, I believe it's 0 at the property line. To the west, it's 0 at the property line on the Bloomfield Avenue side. There's some spill into the street, which is probably not good for people walking on the sidewalk. And then there's a 0.4 foot candle maximum on the eastern side, which we can try to reduce further. There is house side shields associated with the lighting, and we can look at doing it more. Primarily, they're under ceiling lights where the building is. We have 6 pole mounted lights outside that. We do have some bollard lights that go along the pathway in the garden and also around the end of the building where the trellis is to light the pathway. And there's decorative lights on the front of the building and on the east side of the building that provides some light for the doorway
And the lights will be dark sky compliant?
They are dark sky compliant, yes.
I think there was a comment on the review letters to bring the foot candles down at the eastern property line to 0. Is that something that can be accomplished?
Yes, it is. We will find a way to do that.
There was also a question with respect to the lighting within the parking areas that proposed to limit dusk till dawn.
Yes, dusk till dawn. There will be no turning off at night. We feel strongly that it's a security issue when you're in a garage area, that you should have adequate lighting throughout the evening.
And given the vegetation that's going to be planted in those buffer areas along with the fencing, do you see any issues related to site lighting interfering with or being an annoyance to adjacent properties?
No, the lighting analysis we do does not take into account fences or landscaping. So it's a worst case, and there's a significant landscape plan that the architecture firm has prepared for this project, which will only make the impact less towards the adjoining.
Okay. If we can then move into stormwater management for the site.
I want to just go over utilities in general first.
Go ahead.
So we have sanitary sewer connection for this property that goes to Park Street. We did an analysis of the sanitary system in Park Street, and it's more than adequate to convey the flow from this new development. A treatment works approval will be required because of the gallonage. We process that with the town. The water connection for the property will also be to Park Street, both fire and domestic. There should be no problem with serving the building. The flow test for this showed a pressure of over 105 psi and plenty of flow, so I don't anticipate any problems with water supply for this building. And the stormwater system itself is seen on this drawing. The main detention system seen on this drawing is a U shape that goes down both sides of the building and across the back. We've designed it to be compliant with the ordinance, we believe. It meets the peak flow requirements for the current and the future design storms. It has porous pavement to meet the water quality requirement, which is 80% removal of suspended solids, which is noted in the ordinance as well as in the DEP literature as being an approved way to meet the water quality requirement. And recharge is not required based on the ordinance. There's an ordinance provision that indicates that developed sites are exempt from stormwater recharge, similar to other places where development and PEA 1 areas do not require stormwater recharge. We did try to get stormwater management with recharge here. We had a problem with mounding, mostly because and that's to the property to the south. It is significantly lower, and even though our test pits were 16 feet deep, the soils were good. If you compare the elevations, mounding would be up against the foundations of those buildings. So we have designed a system because it wasn't required without it, and to avoid the impact to the neighboring property. We received a review letter from the Environmental Commission. And reading between the lines, if not in the lines, they would prefer to have some type of stormwater recharge. And we're willing to look at that and see if we can find something to mount, as long as the mounding is not impacting the neighbor. And that would have to be about 70 feet from that property line. So, but I think what I would suggest is if we are able to get your approval, I would like to work with the board's stormwater engineer and go over concepts and then come up with a plan that does that, if that's what the board's favor is.
And you've had an opportunity to also review the Boswell review letter dated March 11th, 2026. And do you have any issues with compliance with the comments within that letter?
I do not.
Thank you.
Which date were you just citing?
March 11th?
I think we should do a brief run-through of the engineer's questions, especially I mean, they worked very hard on addressing the issues, many of which were complied with already.
Yep.
But the ones that are still up in the air, we have to address those. And if you're not done with your testimony, please continue. I just wanted to say that because you had just landed on that.
Yes, and I think we were concluding our testimony, so we can go through them and, well, if you don't have them marked, I think I marked the ones that we have not, that were not marked as compliant yet, so
Yeah,
they're highlighted.
Highlighted one, okay. The first one is number 11, under the plot plan, the applicant shall provide testimony regarding the days and hours of operation for the retail spaces, the number of employees, and so forth, the peak hour shift numbers. We don't have tenants, so we don't really know except for Pat's.
Yeah, and that will be 9 to 5. The other 2 tenant spaces, they have not been identified yet, but it would be in compliance with, I know Verona has a code related to hours of operation for commercial uses, and those tenants obviously would be in compliance with that.
I have a question. So regarding the tenants, I know that there's no tenants in the building yet, but would you happen to know if it's gonna be like a restaurant use with outdoor seating? Like, are you expecting to have a use like that? The reason I ask that is because our traffic expert did his review, and his review said that if there's a restaurant, it might affect the trip generation numbers. That's the reason why.
Yeah, there is a potential. I mean, that is a permitted use within the district, within this redevelopment plan. There is some area for outdoor seating. However, it's not a large area, so I don't believe, although obviously we don't have a tenant identified, that there would be much outdoor seating space at all. It would just be a few tables.
Next one.
So, jumping to 14.
Yeah, thank you.
It asks, the question asks, are both residential and retail uses going to be included in that dumpster,
Yes, they are.
in that dumpster area? You can take over.
Okay, I can.
Yeah, no,
I didn't know if you wanted to take over.
Go for it.
All right, so you said yes. And do you know if they're being used both by residential and retail, are they adequate in size for both?
They are. So we have a private hauler who has indicated they would pick up 5 days a week if needed. So, but we think right now it's 2 to 3. That's what we would start with. And if the need occurred where we had to have it picked up more often, we would have it picked up more often.
Okay. I know you guys are going to use a private service for the garbage pickup.
Yeah.
The location of if you could talk a little bit about the location of the dumpster enclosure, it is at a weird, like usually the door is at like a right angle, but this one, the truck is going to have to come in and be at an angle.
Mm-hmm.
Would that affect the traffic flow? If you could provide a little bit of testimony on
So the system of pickup is unique, but also the dumpster enclosure is somewhat too. I envision a door, 2 small doors opening in, and the totes being parked behind it, and then just pulled shut. That way they wouldn't impact the parking spaces on either side.
that? The garbage truck being parked right in front of that area, would that affect the cars coming in and out?
If they were coming in and out at 6:30, yes, it'll be there for like 3 minutes to pick up the garbage, and then they're going to be gone.
And could you talk about the fire truck circulation and like operation? How would that work?
I don't see the fire truck coming onto the site. It's not intended to be, it's not designed to be coming on site. I think it will be fought from the street, and the important thing will be to coordinate the fire department connection, things like that, is indicated in the fire chief's memo.
Right, I was looking at the memo today. I think it was responded to, the questions from the fire chief were responded to. There's just one, I think if you could like provide clarification on something. The fire department connection, they said it's going to be on the west side of the building. And that's gonna be the fire truck, how would the fire truck connect to that fire department connection? How would that operation work?
They connect to it with a hose, my understanding.
And it will be long enough to
Yeah.
connect all the way?
Yeah, yeah. If we need a sandpipe to run out to the street, we could do that too. So I think that's more of a coordination with the fire chief as to how he would fight a fire in his building. And,
But you don't expect the fire truck coming onto the property?
I do not, I do not.
And Paul, to that end, this is a corner lot with Park Avenue and Bloomfield Avenue, and then I guess the property also to the east, there's a driveway there too. So if there was a need to fight a fire from 3 sides of the building, you can.
Yes, they do have access from 3 sides in an emergency.
And talking about that, have you had a chance to calculate the fire flow for the project?
I haven't. That's the mechanical engineer would do that in terms of, based on sprinkler design. So I don't know what that number is yet.
Okay.
But the
Can you
pressure and
provide
flow
us-
in the street was significant, so I don't anticipate a problem.
Yeah, that's exactly I'm going that way because, so they run a hydro test. So they basically, the hydro test gives 3 values: the static pressure, the residual pressure, and the flow rate. So with that, you calculate what is the flow available at 20 psi, which is the minimum pressure required at ground level. So if that flow is larger than the regular water demand plus the fire flow, then it's okay. So, I mean, one hydrant test doing the calculation for the flow available for at 20 psi, one is going to be 6430 GPM, and the other one will be 4764 GPM, which is pretty high, but
Really high.
yeah, but it would be great to have the estimation of the fire flow for the project just for the sake of having it and double check.
This normally is a building department thing, but based on, just so you're understand, 6,400 gallons per minute is
Yeah, it's pretty
it's
high.
probably many times more than what's going to be needed. It's
I
probably going to be more
do
like,
know, but it's just for the
probably
sake
gonna
of
be like
having the
1,500.
number.
And Paul, to alleviate the board's concerns, in the event that the board were inclined to grant the application, could it be as a condition of approval that we would coordinate with the fire official and provide that figure to him and he would sign off on it before any building permits could be issued?
yeah, and it'd be part of the mechanical design. Yes, that's fine.
Right, good, thanks.
But, I just want to say, whether it's the building department's job or our engineer who's overseeing, the engineering of the site, we're not going to assign roles. We're just going to let him ask the question and make the,
I don't mind the
make
question.
the request. So,
Yeah, Madam Chairman, I don't mind the question. He can ask.
okay,
That's fine.
great.
I would just continue on. So if you could talk a little bit about the loading space that's proposed. I know it was moved outside the building overhead.
Yes.
It is a typical 9-foot by 18-foot space. If there is like a larger UPS truck, do you see that being a problem, being parked in that 9-foot by 18-foot space?
No, I don't. I don't know that they would do anything other than what UPS normally does, is park on the side of the curb and run in.
Oh, like outside on the street?
Yeah, or if they can go into the parking garage and park behind the parked cars and run in, but we have no way to control how they deliver.
So I think you had described, or maybe you had described how twice a week a box truck or a van was going to be delivering the flowers that I intend to be buying. So I just want to make sure that they have a place to unload. Is there anywhere on the site besides the spots out front?
Well, obviously, this is a big concern for the applicant as well, since their business is going to be in there. And they are satisfied that this space is sufficient underneath the building. But in the event that you need to, there are also those 3 parking spaces in the front
Okay.
that is for them. Right.
There's no loading space, is the.
There is no dedicated loading space,
Okay.
that's correct, but to a certain extent, there's the ability of the building management to control those 3 spaces, since they will be dedicated for this project.
Understood.
And if you've said this, forgive me, but the trucks that the owners are going to use for the deliveries for their business, is it their trucks or are these
They're going to be deliveries.
just deliveries?
Yeah.
Yes.
So it could be random, could be unanticipated size.
Did we say earlier that number 45 was a loading space?
Yes,
Okay, so it is, you do have a loading space.
yes,
Okay.
But it's not oversized.
correct.
It's just
It's
regular
the
size.
size of a regular parking stall, but
Right.
But I had a question about that too. Because you did submit the turning movements for different vehicles, but none making that sharp turn into that space. You know, if a box truck is loading there, like can it make that turn? Or in that situation where it's just blocking the vehicle? I mean, it's almost made like 180 degree turn unless it, I guess, circulates through the parking area.
so our traffic engineer prepared that turning template, so we can call him next to address that.
Thank you. We'll do that.
I have a question. So, for the nursery of primary use, I remember when I'd gone on site for the redevelopment investigations, there were large trucks there. Will that change now, or?
Yes, they're going to be parked off-site, and obviously their operation is going to be changing given what is happening to the property.
I do have some traffic questions, but I should save them for the
Yeah.
traffic expert, right?
Yeah, go call him next.
Okay, perfect. I'll just move to the wall. Could you talk about the wall? I believe there's a variance that's required for the wall, because it exceeds 4 feet, it's more than 4 feet in height.
So I have that area graded in what I feel is a very nice way, but since there's a variance for 6 inches, I'm going to find a way to eliminate the 6-inch variance. So you'll get a resubmittal without a variance required in that back corner.
Okay.
In regard to that, you're going to have walls in the back as well.
Yes.
And then the board-on-board fence that you switched over to from the chain link. My question is, where in the landscape buffer is that board, where within that landscape buffer is the board-on-board going to be placed? Is it going to split it so that you only see half of the plantings, and then there's a board-on-board fence, and behind it there are more plantings? How is that going to work?
That's a good question. Normally, I would put it right behind the block on the wall, and the landscaping would be inside of it, but that doesn't do much for the buffer, so I think we'd probably give that a little bit more thought.
So we don't know how that's going to be configured. And that would be on both the east side and the south side. That's really the only buffer requirement that there is, even though there's gardens on the west side as well.
Yeah, we do have a more transparent railing on the wall on the other side, just because of its height. You know, something is just a railing, so people don't, it could be done with the plants itself, but, you know, I think building code is going to make us have a small railing there. But you're right, it doesn't require to be a board-on-board, you know, for buffering.
Well, I'm just concerned that you're going to cut off. I hear what you're saying, like it doesn't do much for the neighboring property if you put a fence behind.
Yeah.
At the same time, it kind of screws up everything, and your maintenance of those plants will be cut off if there's a board-on-board fence in between you and your watering device and your access to those plants.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that really needs to be discussed with your client, so we can figure that one out.
We can talk about it, but I'm just asking him, and it can be placed closer to the property line, so all the buffering is on the
Closer to the
development.
back of the buffer,
Correct.
towards the adjacent property.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it needs to be so that you can maintain the buffer.
You're correct about that, yes.
The requirement is that, the only requirement is that the visual screen, I'll just read it. Such buffer shall include a visual screen designed to produce dense cover. What are you doing? We decided to update. Hold on one second.
Happens all the time.
Consisting of evergreen or evergreen-type hedges or shrubs spaced at intervals of not more than 5 feet, located and maintained in good condition within 10 feet of the property line. And then a 6-foot-high privacy fence shall be provided along with the plantings. So it's really,
It could be behind them.
it-
It could be whatever, 5 inches, 6 inches in from the border,
correct.
right? I mean, I think that's the requirement,
S-
6 inches.
So are you requesting that they go beyond, that they agree to a, if approved, that they agree to a condition, even though it complies?
What condition do you think I want?
Well, I'm not sure,
Just
I'm
so I
not sure.
understand, you want it closer to the property line, right? Is that what you're saying?
I think that would be the sage thing to do. The only other issue is, because there's a wall, and then the fence will be on the wall, that extends the height of the wall.
Yes.
So that creates another can of worms, is the point.
Talking about the west side or the?
On either the south or the west side, because I think there's a wall on both. And so when you put a fence on a wall, you are creating a structure that is no longer 6 feet, but 6 + 4.
Now, if that's acceptable to the board from a conceptual standpoint and a design standpoint, then you certainly can grant a waiver, especially in light of the fact that the buffer language that you're asking the applicant to set up the buffer in a certain manner that they're not required under the ordinance.
Right.
And because of that, then there's a quid pro quo.
Yeah, and to the extent that that is the inclination of the board, we are happy to request that variance, and I think for the reasons that the chair stated, it makes sense for the maintenance and health of the plants and the buffering. So for those reasons, would you agree, Paul, that the design waiver could be granted?
Yes.
I kind of just want to hear anybody that might be opposed to that, or that has any other further input before we move forward, before we continue.
I guess I'm just thinking about the neighbors. So they're looking at
At a fence.
a wall, at like a structure, right? The wall and
The
the
wall and
fence.
then the fence on top.
So I wouldn't be, if I was the neighbor, I wouldn't be happy.
Across the driveway, though.
Well, that's on one property.
To the rear though, it's the apartments, there's a walkway. I mean, I kind of agree with Dave that.
On the back end.
On the back end, I don't like the idea of the fence being right on that wall. And I think it's something that the applicant can work out in terms of maintaining the plantings on the other side of the wall.
The law, the ordinance doesn't have eyes. It's not going to look at this every day. It's just something we have here. I'd rather give the waiver and let the design, the through plantings or others, ways being, amenable with the waiver rather than jump through hoops to match the law. Whatever, like fence, things like fence on a wall, no. Like, let it be designed well and we can decide whether it will.
So I'm not sure where you stand.
I'm standing on the design should drive it that works well for the property.
The waiver would be if they move the fence all the way to the property line, so you have the retaining wall plus a fence on top, like directly on top, so that you have just.
What's the height of that retaining wall, please? Yes,
If we look at this property now,
yeah.
if we're looking at the south side, there's a retaining wall there already. It's about 6 feet high. And it's a nice retaining wall to look at. So they've been looking at this with
It is nice.
with shrubbery on top of it already. So that side elevation, Mr. Anderson, the elevation's not changing that much, is it?
Correct, we have a small wall behind it.
Okay, so you put another wall behind the wall that's existing?
Yes, about 5 feet back.
Okay, so 5 foot back, so that doesn't add to the height of that wall. So looking at it now, people on that ground floor or even the first floor aren't going to see much of a difference unless they're looking all the way up at the 4 stories. Going to the east side, if that wall over there is 6 foot, there's going to be a 6 foot fence on the property line. So when they're looking out, they're not going to see the wall, they're going to see the new fence that's going up.
So can I, on the east side, there's no wall. In the rear, and maybe up for a suggestion hearing the comments, there's a 6 foot wall in the back already. Can we get a variance to not place a 6 foot tall board-on-board fence there because you have the wall and then you're going to have all the evergreen plantings as well?
May I, as a person who wrote this? I would suggest to the board that on the south side, I remember going on site, and I think Deputy Mayor was totally right. If you look at it even today, there's a nice retaining wall and tall evergreen. It already provides the buffer. When we write this language, we're trying to protect to the maximum extent. So any kind of waiver along that side is completely reasonable. When you look at the eastern property line, there's a driveway along the, that's where my intent was, that's where we need that board-on-board fence, because that's how you get that, that sort of buffer. Because presently that side, it's pretty unattractive, So what I would suggest, if you, that to grant the waiver along the southern property lines, we just have the tall, and the retaining wall, if I recall from last year, was in pretty good condition. So I don't think it has changed much. And if the elevation hasn't changed, I think I would recommend that you grant the waiver.
You're saying no fence in the
No
south?
fence.
No fence. How does anybody feel about that?
That's what I wanted to say. Thank you, sir.
That's actually what is existing, and there haven't been any prior complaints about noise.
No.
So,
And actually, you're going to be doing more flush. I can't have the public speak yet. I'll bring you up after he's done.
Because I have.
Okay, we'll bring you up
Okay.
when he's done with his testimony. So, I mean, it sounds reasonable to go that way and just do the board-on-board fence on the east side. Is that, okay?
Yes, a lot of sense.
Continue, please.
That's all. I went through the whole letter. I do have traffic questions and some questions for the architect, but that's all.
I'm going to ask Alvaro to go through your set.
The stormwater?
Yeah,
So-
and then we'll come around to all of the questions we have, and then open to the public. You're not showing us any other site plans, okay.
So it's going to be from 43 to 57. So 43 is regarding the depth at which I'm sorry, is going to be that you need to provide certification letter for the porous pavement that you're proposing. That is going to be, is going to have over 6.0 inches per hour infiltration rate. This is only going to be used for water quality, and 20 inches per hour if it's going to be used for both water quality and quantity.
Right, those are the standards. We would use 6.4 because it's only water quality. And in terms of the certification, I'm not sure, it's not a manufactured device, but if you're talking about certification from the plant we get the asphalt from?
Yes, it's, I mean, some kind of evidence that you're going to achieve, that's the infiltration rate.
Okay.
So, number 4 is, I think that we asked that in previous meeting, and it was about which unit hydrograph you used when modeling
It's SES.
the standard or the Marva.
It's a standard
Standard.
SES. Yes.
So in your report, it did not just say standard, it said something else, which is in the VEC's question. It looked like a hybrid, like a creation of your own.
It's not something I created. It's right out of the software program. It's for New Jersey. You might have seen the rainfall distribution type, I think it's a type 3
No, it was a
rainfall
unit
distribution.
hydrograph, and it had a different title, it didn't just say standard. I'll look it up in your report, hold on.
Okay.
Sorry. Yeah, I said it in the VEC's review, and now I'm like not locating it, so. Somewhere in the documents that you must have amongst your pile of documents.
Well, if Alvaro thinks that whatever we use makes a difference, and we should change it, we would be happy to look at that. I don't think it'd be a significant change.
So long as it's just a pure standard.
It's something right out of the software, which is compliant with the National Engineers Handbook. So, I mean, I don't think it's out of the ordinary, certainly not something I modified.
Yeah, the reason why we're asking is that because the picking factor of the two, the typical unit hydrograph that model uses is the standard that has a picking factor of 484. And the other one is called the Marva, has a picking factor of 284, if I'm not mistaken. Basically, the hydrograph, they have the same volume, but the only difference is the peak flow. That's the peak
Yes.
flow. That's the question. That's why we need to know what type of unit hydrograph you use.
Yeah, it's just the standard, and I use the Essex County rainfall data, what we're supposed to do, and for both the current and future storms.
Yeah, so, because unfortunately, this model, unlike the others that, for example, say HydroCAD or SWIM, they show in the report which unit hydrograph is being used. It says clearly that.
Oh, yeah, I use HydroCAD.
Yeah.
And so it should be in there.
Can you,
And that's what the chairman has found.
if necessary, can you provide that to
Yeah.
the board engineer?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's that one. Yeah, it says, it's just that it said SES, split impervious, split pervious impervious, and I just,
Yeah, well, was one of the other questions, that it was standard, you want the pervious and impervious run separately.
Yeah.
So I had HydroCAD separate the impervious and pervious as was requested, which is fairly standard. And that's what that means.
so the SES is standard what? CAD system?
It's a HydroCAD is just a
I
software.
know, I know, I'm just trying to get what SES actually stands for.
What's the acronym for it? What's
Yeah,
the-
it's Soil Conservation Service. That was the
Yeah.
old name of the entity. Now it's
Soil
called
Conservation Service.
National Resource and
Okay,
Conservation
but
Service.
Yeah.
so your report doesn't really say standard, that you're running a standard hydrograph. That's all I'm saying. It doesn't,
Yeah, it doesn't
Say it
say.
clearly.
No, it indicates I use that methodology in the front, but it doesn't say specific hydrograph, and I've actually never even modified these hydrographs. I just use the ones that are appropriate for this area.
Yeah,
So-
so to solve this issue, then could you provide me with the file, the hydrograph file of the model, so I can open it in my computer and check all the.
So now, I believe that Alvaro asked for that during the site plan review meeting.
I think so.
Did you?
Yeah.
Yes, he did.
Okay.
I was there enough to have witnessed that one, that much.
Oh,
So,
well, that I have no problem
so
with
if
that.
that could be sent to him as soon as possible so that he could just double check everything.
Yeah, sure.
Also, can this be emailed to Dee Dee and, so that it can be
Absolutely,
distributed
yeah.
to everybody?
Yeah, and actually, thank you for pointing that out. We can mark the whole package, the PowerPoint presentation, the civil engineer is A1, and I will email it to Dee Dee tomorrow morning.
Alvaro, continue, please.
Yeah, so, number 45 is going to be the adjustment of the, inlet area map, the drainage area. So just to be more specific as to, each inlet has to be provided a catchment area. So currently, it is not, so.
It's listed in the calculations, but not on the map. We will add it to the map also.
Yeah, okay. So the older one, number 46, is going to be the LID checklist that has to be revised and adjusted accordingly.
Okay.
Right.
I'll get into that with you. What are you laughing at?
So number 47, we already addressed that, about the,
Right.
yeah, we already addressed that. Number 48 is about the length to be used for the calculation of the time of concentration in regard to the seed flow.
Right.
It has to be a maximum of 400 feet.
Okay, I used the Macaulay Spies
Oh, okay.
formula, and it indicated that it could be much more than 100 feet.
Okay.
So what I did is I looked at the plan, and it was an existing, just like 104 feet I picked because that's where it started to show contours that looked like it was flowing more as a concentrated flow.
All right, good.
So even though I could have made it 170 feet, it wasn't physically that in the field. So I didn't change it under 100.
Yeah, perfectly fine, yes. So the number 49, it's already addressed. The capacity of the pipe is large enough to accommodate the estimated flow. Here, so no problem with that. Number 50 is the section of the porous pavement. Shall be revised to show the thicker fabric along the sides and the bottom of the system.
Yeah, we just missed that, sorry.
Right. So number 51, it's about the depth for the soil testing. So it has to be at 18 feet because this has to be because of the bottom of the structure that you're proposing.
So we have I went through the math on that. The existing grade's about 408 where that test was done. It's 12 feet down. And then the bottom, so that gets you like to 396. And there was no groundwater at 396. And then the bottom of our system is at 402. So that, I believe that provides the separation you're looking for.
This is how you do So you said the bottom is at what? The elevation?
So the existing grade was, I believe, 408. And we're 12 feet down. It's 98 actually. So, and then it's 402 is the bottom system, so it's 4 feet.
Yes, 4 feet, that's good.
And
So-
it's not recharge either, so I mean, I don't know if we get the separation if we're not recharging at that point.
Well, what you just said is you found no groundwater.
Not in that pit, no.
Right.
You're
So my concern is that you could be doing some recharge. And obviously you could use perforated pipe to be leading off-site to flow into the Park Avenue system. And if it by chance can't be recharged at that time, or it's already super saturated, it'll flow off-site as planned. But at least you're giving an opportunity, if you use perforated pipe, for some recharge to occur. You have solid pipe running out of the system, and I just think, you know, bottom perforated, especially with the soil results that you got, you have some sand, some loam, and it appears not a lot of modeling. So, okay, so that tends to say that you don't have saturation of water in those areas.
Not in our test pit area. So you do a groundwater mounting analysis from where you find, you know, how far is it mounting above groundwater? I can't say that there's no groundwater, and I don't know where it is because I never found it. Okay, so I have to assume it's the bottom of the test pit. When you assume it's the bottom of the test pit and you see how it mounds up, it impacts and daylights to the apartment to the south. Okay, and that creates a drainage problem. The width of that mounting is about 65 or 70 feet. And what I was saying to you before is if we keep the recharge element of that system 70 feet away from that back property line, then the mounding will have taken effect and gone down. The soils are fairly consistent, as you pointed out. They're very gravelly and porous. It'd be, you know, it is almost ideally suited for that. But if I brought this design that showed a recharge system to the board, and I showed them my groundwater mounting analysis, Alvaro would say, this does not work. You can't do this. So I want to find, that's why I was saying, if we can find somewhere in between, where we provide, yes.
I feel like you need to take advantage of the site's conditions.
And we would like to do that. It's not an easy thing to model necessarily, but with, you know, the back part recharging and the front part not. But I think that we could work together and come up with something if that's, if the board's so inclined to do that.
And this would be something you indicated earlier you would agree to.
Yeah, this is something that I proposed in my direct testimony, yeah, that I think that there might be an opportunity to do this. Because there are good soil conditions for it. It just has to be far enough away from that lower property in the back, so it doesn't create a negative impact to the neighbors.
I don't know if that satisfies you, Jeff. That works for me if they're going to be required to bring a concept out or see what we can do there.
Yes, I want that to be, I guess, worked out and discussed, and you know, feasibility of design options for that, if possible, you know? I mean, that's the whole point of green infrastructure, you know, to do that on site, to save the municipal system from overflow on a regular basis, so.
Understood.
Okay. I'm sorry, Alvaro, confused.
It's okay. So number 52 is the calculation of the flow velocity within the pipes has to be provided.
Right. They are.
Yeah, number 53 is regarding the stormwater management system maintenance plan to be reflected in the deed notice. That's standard.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. So number 54, you have to provide the drain time calculations for the structure that you're going to be designing. Mm-hmm. Number 55 is you need to provide a note to on sheet SP3, including the maintenance manual.
Okay.
Number 56 is that you need to, there is a discrepancy between the elevation of the 15-inch pipe. In one hand you say it's 402 and on the other hand it's 403.
Yeah.
You have to check that discrepancy and adjust it accordingly. And you have to number 57 and final. Need to evaluate and check that the outlet structure at 1% slope, provide the adequate the capacity big enough to accommodate the current and the future storm events.
Okay. So on the last one, that would be pressure flow. So it's not going to be just gravity flow through that 15-inch pipe, but if you look at a 15 at 1%, it is going to have about 8.5 CFS, and I think our peak flow is less than that.
You say 8.5?
Yeah.
Do you want to do the water supply, or is that?
Yeah, I already went through the only question I had was regarding the hydrant test and the pipe flow
And
calculation.
that was
Yes.
something that you're going to work on him with?
Yeah.
And how about the sanitary sewer questions?
Oh, yeah, the sanitary sewer all addressed.
All good?
Yeah, okay.
I'm gonna come over to the board and go around to, you don't have to go in order, but if somebody has a question, please speak up. Anybody has a question, Jesse?
I'm an engineer over here, has some questions.
I
Oh,
have some questions.
yeah.
So in your, you have a stormwater connection to the existing catch basin on Park Avenue. Did you inspect the existing condition of that catch basin?
Not thoroughly. I've looked into it, and we got a survey of those elevations.
So I asked because we have old infrastructure in town, and there's a
Yep.
concern that connecting to a catch basin that may be at, or nearing a point of repair, it may need more than just a connection to an existing catch basin. There
Mhm.
might be additional attention necessary for that catch basin, make sure that it is adequate.
They might be rebuilding the catch basin that falls apart.
It could be that, yes.
Yeah. Well, that happens periodically. So, yeah.
So I think the plan should reflect that. Kind of similar note, though, is the connection to that existing 8-inch clay sewer line.
Yeah.
I'm assuming that clay sewer line is probably also pretty aged. You have a 6-inch line connecting to an 8-inch line. Is that by manhole, or how is that connection being made?
It was just going to be a regular connection to the pipe, but I think probably better, now that you're reminding me it's clay, that we do it as a manhole.
Okay, I think so as well. I think, again, as we were talking about what that trench looks like, where the sanitary sewer line is connecting, if we're making a slightly larger excavation in the street for that manhole, you're right near where the water connection is, and then you have some curb replacement for that driveway. I'm just concerned about what the pavement repair in the street is going to look like if you're just repairing trenches, or I think a more appropriate repair would be to box out the asphalt to make the travelability on Park Avenue a little bit cleaner at the completion of the project. Just so you don't have a series of trenches in a row.
Yeah, why don't we look at it as one patch as opposed to multiple trenches?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, so the sewer and water normally be 10 feet apart, so it'll be at least that. And then the curb itself is normally just up against the curbing where we're cutting out the existing and putting a new press curb for the driveway.
So whatever the limits of the disturbance are, and I guess as you're replacing the curb at the press curb at that driveway entrance, it looks like you're trying to preserve the majority of the curb on Park Avenue.
Yeah.
But as you go through construction, I don't know if as you start constructing the new sidewalk, or as you have construction equipment coming and going, I don't know what the shape of that curb will look like halfway through construction. So the curb that you're trying to preserve on Park Avenue, I'm not sure if it will last the duration of the project.
Yeah, I can't control what the contractors do. If they want to go in there, somehow and destroy it, then they're going to have to replace it. But right now, it's in good shape. We would like to keep it, and I don't know that it's necessary for them to damage it in any way. But if something happens,
Kind of getting away from a couple of utility questions, but as you're circulating through the site, it looks like you've got potential opportunity for a couple stop bars just internally on the site. It looks like you've got them at the main driveways as you're leaving the site, but it looks, you've got traffic flow coming underneath the building and then also wrapping around the building, so you've got a couple points where you probably need to try to control the internal traffic on the site. I'm not sure if that's you or your traffic engineer, but.
Yeah, I'll have to look and see what I think is the best alignment. I would probably have the main through, continue through from the Park Avenue driveway through to leaving on Bloomfield Avenue, and then having stops on the driveway that wraps around the other direction.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a few ways of accomplishing that. I think it's worth just making sure you properly address that so you don't have merging traffic from two separate driveways without that control.
Yep, okay.
And then I think there's just one note. It's probably just a typographical error, but you've got on the Bloomfield Avenue side, you have,
Which sheet?
it's on the site plan sheet, I believe. You were talking about an asphalt repair on Bloomfield Avenue to meet the township standards.
Yeah, it's gonna be county.
It's county, and it was just repaved, so I'm not sure if we have, what the process is, but just, I think it's important to note that coordination with the county on the roadway repair is important on that, on Bloomfield Avenue.
I believe we have a county application that's in. I'm sure they'll be advising us on those conditions.
Okay. And I appreciate your comment earlier on the sidewalk design and the, you have a note here for reset existing brick buffer between new sidewalk and new curb. Again, we're entering into a streetscape design for Bloomfield Avenue. It actually stops just before the limits of this project, but I think it's an opportunity to continue the same standard, which we will provide to you. We should have that in short order. So I think the general standard of the design theme that is selected for Bloomfield Avenue streetscape should be carried through on this site for Bloomfield Avenue as well.
Okay.
Time together? Yeah.
Right. I think those are the questions I had right now.
Oh, that ties in a little bit of what I'm looking at this lovely rendering. Of course, you want to put the best foot forward. But what I wanted to know about the streetlights, and if I recall, there's I'm not sure exactly where it is, but the traffic light structures are here. How does this lovely corner unadorned with those, where are those in this, or are they in the site plan?
They're in the site plan. They're shown on the existing conditions, with the survey. It's a background of my drawing. But in the rendering, you're right, the artist did not put the stoplights and stuff. There's one right on the corner of that wall to the left of the Hillcrest Farms side.
Okay.
That wall, the Hillcrest Farms wall, is being moved back a few feet.
Right.
To create additional space. The sidewalk there with I believe is 6 feet wide with the brick or whatever the detail will be going forward. The others.
And same with this rendering, I don't see the parking spaces. It looks like,
Yeah.
the two
I
lanes.
think their focus was on the building and trying to show.
I get it, I see it through it, but I just want to make sure that there's no concerns on that front. So in your opinion, are there any concerns with some of the structures and the placement of this building with existing lights and traffic structures?
No, they're all set back from those features in the street. They're not going to need to touch the signalized intersection at all. So we should be good.
What area was the biggest challenge for you on this site plan?
the grading on site is difficult to get it in the back. You have to create it more level to be functional for pedestrians and for traffic, and the site slopes. And the neighbors are lower, and so it's
So it's.
you're creating a platform here, and the neighbors are lower, so it's challenging to find a balance.
Yeah. And you feel that this solution protects has adequate protection for the neighbors that are lower?
I do. I think it's a good balance of where, what it could have been and what it, what it is today between those two.
You also said something in your testimony about, snow removal is going to be a challenge.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that's an obstructive challenge, or is that just they're going to have to figure it out? Are they going to have to cart it away?
No, he actually has a contract from somebody that's local to actually clear the driveway, including a large amount of manpower to physically just shovel areas that are really not accessible with a plow, and using smaller plow vehicles and things like that to achieve what he needs to achieve. So,
Like, just looking at this, like, are you gonna fill the dog park with this, or like, where would you put the snow?
Yeah, in the winter, they're gonna probably dump some over the edge in there, short of the walk, and they'll put some to the east side in that buffer too. And, that's space that they have available.
Yeah. Might take up some of the parking spaces too.
No.
No?
No.
Well, if people are parked there, they'll be driving out with snow in their car, they'll brush it off towards the,
Yeah. Okay. And along those lines, the challenges, any challenges you see that you didn't utter in your testimony?
I don't think so. No.
Thank you.
Yeah, I just wanted to know, was there any testing for contaminated soil in the back portion of the property? I just have the impression that there was a lot of vehicles back there and
Yeah.
potentially oil.
I'm not aware of any. I mean, that's not my part of the job, contaminant testing or anything like that. But, it's something that they have to remove soil from the site, they'll have to have it tested, so it'll eventually happen.
That's all I have.
One other question on the exit, the right turn only, is that, seems like it's purposely designed to be tight enough for only one car to go in, like you couldn't have.
You don't want somebody coming in.
No, I do not.
Yeah.
Right, I don't think
Yeah.
well, they might want to.
They might, but,
Yeah. Okay, but, so that is by design, right? It seems,
Correct.
yeah, great, thank you.
Actually, your presentation was very well, and the attorney asked the questions that I was writing down, so a lot of them are answered already. I'm happy to see, I was a little unclear about sidewalk on Park Avenue, because your yellow new sidewalk stops partway down, but then I looked on the map and it continues already, so you're just
Yes.
reconnecting to what's there. Which I like, it makes it a safer walk around. The buffer variance on the one side, I'm looking at it and I'm okay with it, because I would rather see that a little smaller and have that small green area next to the walkway on the east side of the building there, rather than push the driveway all the way over, even closer to the building, so I'm okay with that. Questions about, you said there's going to be bike parking area, it's just for regular bicycles outside. There's going to be an e-bike room or a bicycle room, is that just for e-bikes? My question is with that, is there, obviously we all know the problems with e-bikes, is there special fire ratings for those type of rooms now? Have they changed code to be more specific for them?
I don't know that that's my area.
So if I can just,
Wait for the article.
the e-bikes are outside the building.
Okay,
And
Regular bikes.
regular
Got
bikes
it.
inside the building.
okay. They do, I would think that would be something with all the fires we're seeing. Some kind of special fire rating for that room if they do put it inside. The other thing I was worried about, and it was already answered, was lighting spillover on the east side to the neighbors there, but I also think the 6-foot fence will help that a lot. The other, one thing I was wondering about, and it was touched on with the garbage area and where it is there any, did you consider any other area of this where maybe if the garbage truck comes in off a park and makes the right turn, maybe the parking spot's straight ahead in the back there, or even straight across on the east side, obviously going under the building, but where the exit starts to turn there, like what, 2 spots there? Or would it, I know obviously it would maybe take away from parking. Is there any other area considered?
There's really not a lot of other real usable spaces to do. We tried to maintain the park area on the west side, you know, and have that usable and large enough. And if we put the dumpster down there, it'd be pretty much where that circle is.
He was actually referring to the east side, right before the curve where the drive leaves the
Or both?
the site.
Yeah.
Okay.
Taking
Where the
two of
EV
those
spots are?
Are those EV spots?
Yeah.
Well, we could put the EV
Yeah,
spots
you
in the
can swap,
back.
I'm just asking.
Yeah, swap
You
them out.
could put them in the back, but I don't know, I thought it was better in the back where it's kind of tucked away from everything else. If you, I mean, you have people all around you, so it's like, if you kept, we just thought that was the best location for it.
Back.
And that's where the residents' parking is as well, so, I mean, I don't know if that weighed into you, but that's probably less in and out with the residents as compared to closer to the driveway where there's going to be the more commercial parking spaces dedicated.
I mean, I agree, I think the EVs should be in the back where, you know, they're gonna be parked longer, I'm charging outside right now. Versus, you know, take sort of prime visitor parking spaces that, you know, someone might just park in.
Well, we can slide them in the back. My only criteria for the EV was, well, first I need one by, you know, by the ADA space. You know, so I need a couple there. But I also wanted to get the rest of them outside the building. So, and that eastern side is an ideal location for it. Whether we slide them down a little bit towards the back or not is somewhat unimportant, really. You know.
I don't have a question about the EV spots. Fine. No, I'm good, thank you very much.
I have a couple of questions. The last comment, there were a number of comments that I think could have been better addressed in your testimony on the, your low-impact development checklist. Did you fill that out, or did you have an assistant fill that out? Be honest. You're under oath.
I am under oath, and I did fill it out myself. Low-impact development on a site that permits 80% impervious coverage is kind of,
Yeah, but you
know, I mean,
you negated our ordinances entirely. You're like, no, no, no. Oh, and we're in a PA1 area, so green infrastructure doesn't apply? That's not
We
true.
do have green infrastructure. We have the porous pavement of the water quality.
You actually said that you had 0 green infrastructure
Well,
going in on your site. That's why I asked if you had filled that out.
Yeah, that's, okay.
And you cited that because we're in a PA1 zone, that no green infrastructure is required, which is false.
I don't believe I said that, but if I did, that's in error.
Yeah, it is. The last comment we have, so I think that's why Alvaro was like, you might want to go kind of revisit that section and make it a little more comprehensive. We actually do have ordinances that require that, and the state requires green infrastructure, but we understand that 5 feet of fill will be placed at the south area of the site in order to balance it out because it slopes off. And an overall net filling of about 900 cubic yards, right? To make proposed grades. That, by the way, one of my associates on the VEC is a licensed engineer, so this is what he does for a living. He was a little concerned, and I expressed that concern on his behalf, that because there are silt and clay present in the detention gallery, he wants to know if you felt, or if anybody might feel, that future settlement from the additional load caused by the fill might result in issues with the structural column foundation supporting the second and third and fourth floors. Is there a geotechnical report prepared for this site that may have addressed this issue of settlement or consolidation of existing soils below the proposed fill areas? And will there be?
There has been a geotechnical report prepared for the project,
Who has
not by myself. As we're prepared so that the structural engineer can make the proper design decisions in designing the foundation. They also have copies, structural engineer has copies of my design, so they understand that there is plastic pipe in the ground, and they can, and if we do make it porous pipe in some regard, then that will change the parameters yet again and make his system, his design, foundation design even different, because you have a saturated condition.
So being that you do have a geotechnical report, you haven't given us the answer to the main question here is, will future settlement from the additional loading cause the fill to result in any issues in the proposed detention gallery, which goes all around the parking lot, right? But especially at the rear part where the fill is going to go. He's asking if there's any concerns about the footings of the columns that are going to be holding up the building in that rear portion due to the weight of the new fill.
Well, I think the fill is going to be compacted in place, standard practice, right? And to 95% of its maximum dry density. And if it's placed in that fashion, the settlement should be minimal. Okay, you know, I'm sure this is all outlined in the geotechnical report of
Which
how.
no one's seen yet, right? We have not seen that. You have not seen that? Anyone? Okay.
If there's a geotech report, can we submit it to the board?
Yeah, it's not my document. It can be submitted by the applicant, yes.
Okay, I mean, we may as well have our engineer take a peek at that.
Yes, we will provide the board with a copy and the engineer with a copy of the geotech report.
Okay.
No, we have no interest in having a building that settles and has
Of course
cracks.
not.
And I'm sure we're going to have the
didn't say you
structural
weren't
engineer
interested.
being as conservative as they always are in designing the footings, and we do communicate fairly regularly as, this is my piece, here's how it works with yours, and so I hope to have no impacts that you're concerned about.
Yeah, I would just say, get everything over to Dee Dee and then send your report to Alvaro so he can run it on his system. Any other questions? Does anyone down there have any other questions? San, anything to add on this section? Okay. Everyone's trying to help me out now. At this time, if there are any members of the public who have questions for this gentleman only, and that, I mean, it's not a comment time, it's time to ask questions, not a comment. You have to come up to the mic and ask questions of, only asking questions of the witness.
My only concern was on the east side because I have an apartment.
Sir, state your name, please. Your name.
Yeah, I'm sorry, it's a hearing, so you have to state your name.
Oh, Charlie Dimmick.
Can you come on up? Just state your name and your municipality is the Township of Verona?
Yeah, I live in
Okay.
Verona, and I own an apartment there next
What's your
door.
name, sir?
I own Charlie Dimmick.
Can you spell your last name, please?
Dimmick, D-I-M-E-C-K.
Thank you.
Been in Verona for 54 years.
Okay. Do you have a question for this gentleman?
Yeah. On this side is, next adjacent property is the Verona Manor. I have an apartment there. And the property on that side has nothing but a cyclone fence on there. I assume you're going to put a retainer wall of some kind, because the property actually is lower than our property.
So we have in the front where it intersects Bloomfield Avenue, where that driveway intersects, is just going to be a board-on-board fence. So the cyclone fence, as you call it, or chain link, will be taken down, and a board-on-board will replace it. So it'll be 6 feet high, and you won't be able to see through. That will continue down the property line, and then in the back, we do have a retaining wall because you do get too low. We step up a little bit.
As you go back to the back,
To the
it
back.
gets lower,
Correct.
even
In the
on this
back-
property.
In the back, we'll have a fence and the wall on that
Right,
side.
okay, so that's what I was concerned about. And I was worried about how close the building would be, but it looks pretty good, the distance there between the building that's there now, because there's a driveway on our side too.
Yes, yeah, so the 12-foot drive, about a 12-foot
And I
driveway.
think it's a
on our
good-looking
side,
building.
on your side.
So, that's all I have to say.
Thank you, Charlie.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Are there any other members of the public that have any questions for the engineer? Seeing none, I'm going to close the public question period. Do you have any further comments on this?
No, I'm ready to call our next witness, if it's okay with you.
You're going to bring the traffic on?
Yes.
I think that's a good idea. Can we take a 3-minute break? Richie? We good? Okay.
Our next witness is Craig Paraguay, our traffic engineer.
Can you state your name and address for the record, please?
Sure, my name is Craig Paraguay, P-E-R-E-G-O-Y, business address 245 Main Street, Chester, New Jersey.
And can you raise your right hand? Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give is the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Craig, can you please briefly go through your education professional background?
Sure. I have a bachelor's degree in civil engineering from Virginia Tech. I'm a licensed professional engineer in New Jersey. I testify pretty much every night. I testified here in Verona, but it was years ago. I don't know if it was this board or zoning board, but it was a long time ago.
Your license
Traffic
is
engineer
current?
for 25 years, license is current in good standing.
SAB accepted as an engineer and with expertise in traffic engineering.
Are you guys in the final? No, you're not. You got knocked.
No.
No, he may not.
We were a bubble
He's
team
good.
that did not make me.
Okay, so Craig, you've been sitting here throughout the hearing. There's been some questions that have come up related to traffic. Can you address the questions that have been raised?
Sure, and I hopefully I've got it sounded like there were 3 issues to discuss. That loading space, you were asking could a vehicle front in, any vehicle that could fit in that loading space could swing out front in. If I was driving it, I'd back in because it's just easier, but they physically could do it. A huge, giant truck isn't going to be able to do that, but they wouldn't use that small.
But what they would be using, like a Sprinter van, that
Sprinter van, step van, a smaller box truck, a U-Haul, certainly could make that swing.
Can you speak to what Mr. Anderson discussed very briefly about moving trucks and what the procedure are for larger trucks for resident movements?
Yeah, and I do a lot of residential development, work with a lot of residential developers, and they tell me that most of the apartments like this, they usually are using a 14, maybe a 17-foot U-Haul truck, which can park in a parking space. Having driven one from Virginia Tech to home, I've parked in several parking spaces with it. If somebody does, for whatever reason, have a larger truck or a moving truck, it's usually built into the lease. You have to coordinate with the management, and they could either do a couple things. You could cordon off spaces on the site, but since you got the 3 that are under our control on Bloomfield Avenue, it would just be those are reserved for you in the middle of the day. You would do it during peak times. But it's few and far between.
And how do you anticipate regular deliveries, your Amazon, your food deliveries, your...
The same way they do it to everybody, the same way they do everybody else up and down Bloomfield Avenue. Wherever they find a spot, they pull in and they'll deliver. You can provide a loading zone and say, Amazon guy, park here, they'll never pull in into the private property. It's too much liability for them. You had 2 questions too. The one about the trip generation with the restaurant, if it was a restaurant. So I did take a look at that retail space. We call it a strip retail plaza. When you don't know the tenants, it's going to be a mix of multiple tenants. That's the best land use to take a look at. But if I looked at it as all restaurant, it would actually generate less traffic during the weekday morning and weekday evening, and one extra car during the Saturday peak hour. So a restaurant's going to fit right in there. We already know that one of the users isn't going to be a restaurant. And when it comes to the outdoor seating, which was the other thing that you brought up, as was mentioned, it's sort of a small area, so unless it's a really large area that's like an attraction for an outdoor seating, you generally don't take that into account. The ITE data that we use, the Institute of Transportation Engineers, specifically says the trip generation is based on the interior space. A couple of reasons for that. One is it's seasonal outdoor, especially in the Northeast. You're not going to be eating outside for 7 months of the year, no matter what. And what happens is when you get that nice weather and people eat outside, then there tend to be less people eating inside. So it really just the customers when they're moving outside, you don't really add that much more. And in this case, it's not going to be a huge area. It certainly would be the attractive feature of the restaurant. It's not an outdoor beer garden sort of thing that would ever go in here. So the numbers I used were appropriate.
So,
I hope that was the two that you asked, but it sounded like you have more, so.
I think I have a couple more. So, I'd just like to add, our traffic expert, I'm not a traffic expert, but a traffic expert from our office did review the impact study report, and they found it to be acceptable. There were a few clarifications that they needed, and they were pretty straightforward, so I think I can just ask you the questions and you can just answer them. There was a question about the site distance calculations on Park Avenue. So right now on the site plan, I know you show the 25 feet wide side triangle, but were there any calculations done for the site to calculate the site distance at the stop signs for both Park and Bloomfield?
Yes, we did. We can give you that. We need
and if you could show that on the plan as well, so we can take a look at it.
Yeah, and that's fine. And what's nice is when you're coming out of Park, you're up high, so you have a really good vantage point. Those walls are very low. We meet the same site distance there. No problem.
Do you anticipate a large UPS delivery van going underneath the building around the property? And do you think it's going to be okay with the clearance?
I don't anticipate that. Like I said before, even if you provide a space and say, this is reserved on my property for the UPS guy, he's still going to park on the street because they don't like to go on private property. But if one did wander in there, the back drive aisle, the rear drive aisle, there's a 12-foot clearance height, and those UPS trucks are 11 feet tall, so they could do it.
It would be tight, but they would be able to make it.
Yes.
Craig, who regulates the parking on Bloomfield? If they're dedicated spaces, obviously the police have jurisdiction, but what's the policing?
Well, it's a county road, so it's up to them in terms of whatever signage that I guess it would probably be codified into your ordinance if those, to be enforceable, if those 3 spaces were dedicated to this. I'm sure you have a section that says, here's the streets that are one way, here's the streets where there's no parking and snow emergencies.
Right.
That would probably wind up in there. Would be the best way.
Is that
Just so you can enforce, so the police can enforce it.
I don't know. I'm looking at somebody who might know better than Greg on this one.
Yeah, I don't know if the town has codified by ordinance any specific on-street parking for specific businesses. I'm not sure if that exists. So again, it would be a unique circumstance for Verona.
That's what that was my next question, is basically how often does this happen?
I've seen it before. You wouldn't have to do it. You put the signs up and you trust people that they're going to read the sign and know that they're not supposed to park there if they're not appropriately parked. If you want to enforce it, then you would need that in the ordinance, but you still probably could write somebody a ticket, they wouldn't know. If a traffic engineer like me got the ticket, I'd look at your ordinance and say, oh, this isn't any good. But realistically, for 3 spaces, you could probably not worry about it. If you don't have that section in your ordinance, I wouldn't suggest creating it for these 3 spaces and just let the signs do their job.
I think the only thing that I remember, I'm not even sure if it's codified, was during COVID, there were pickup space, pickup and drop off spaces that were secured. But other than that, I don't recall anything.
They weren't codified.
They weren't codified,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, it would be up to the town. It's not necessary, if you trust the signs will do their job.
Just a
Maybe it's
very
something,
good
if it's
question.
becoming a nuisance, then you do it, but I wouldn't go out of my way if I were you guys.
Because if I just if I wanted to run across and see somebody over at Prout and just sneak a spot, over in front of Hillcrest,
Yeah, I
who's
think
gonna tell me? Huh?
to understood, I think if the town is not inclined at the beginning, but if there happened to be a nuisance and noticed that people were doing that, then I think that the applicant would approach the town council and ask them to codify that.
So something to park here, I mean,
Again, I think that sets a precedent that hasn't been set yet for other businesses in town. And I'm not sure it's something that the council would necessarily, I don't want to speak on behalf of the council, but I'm not sure if they haven't done it yet, that they'd necessarily be inclined to do it for one specific business. Again, it becomes very difficult to enforce even if they were inclined. Again, if you have somebody who stops into a business and picks up a pack of gum, then leaves and walks in the park and takes a bus into the city and then comes back and they frequented one of the businesses there 8 hours ago, it's hard to enforce.
yeah.
That move. Are these spots designated for the businesses?
Yeah.
Not for the residents?
Correct, it's gonna be designated for the, commercial use.
For commercial?
And there's gonna be signage, and there's gonna be a building manager that's on site, so I'm sure that they're gonna be looking at it themselves. They're gonna be there as well, so.
And that makes the most sense anyway, because there's no overnight parking
Correct.
on the street.
That was what I was wondering.
Right.
Oh, well, that makes it easier then, because the thing you do want to avoid is somebody leaving their car there for months at a time, so that's not an issue.
Go.
So without closing the problem here, the reason they're asking for these 3 spots is because they're
How we started.
deficient on parking? Is that?
It was built in
It
as
brings
part
it to
of.
the number, correct?
It does, and it was specifically accounted for within the redevelopment plan, that if you create it, because currently there's two existing curb cuts along Bloomfield Avenue, and
Yes.
by closing the curb cuts, there's now an additional 3 parking spaces, so now that there's a total of 7 along the frontage. So the creation of 3 spaces was, because they were creating 3 new spaces, that was allowed to be counted towards the required parking count.
So to avoid all this and having to go to the council, and is it best that we just offer a waiver of parking rather than have to go through doing something that, the only thing I can think of, and I'm thinking of towns around us, I've never seen this, and the only thing close to it is a designated area for drop-offs for schools. So I don't know if it'd be wiser for us to, Sam, your thoughts?
Kevin?
I think the idea, we're probably thinking the same thing.
hand before I did.
I think the idea of the counts, the parking spots counting as credits towards achieving the parking requirement is helpful. But having them specifically designated for those businesses, I'm not sure if I necessarily agree with that or think that that's appropriate. But I think allowing them to count towards the parking compliance, I think that makes sense.
Because they created 3 new
Because
spots.
it's a correction for each spot.
So, just to what, Kevin, what I would also like to add is, when we were looking at the redevelopment plan and drafting it and looking at the different concepts, the reason was that you want to fully satisfy whatever is required. And my thought process on this was that if you have 3 designated parking for that business, because you have like 2 ingress and egress, 3 ingress and egress. We were closing 2 that actually we calculated that was enough to create 3. And at that time, we had spoken to the owner of the property who said he was going to talk to the county, and the county seemed fine with having 3 on-street parking dedicated to the business. My thought process of having that was because that way you ensure anybody who's coming to visit these commercial spots have a parking spot. And it's not like they're driving around or anything like that. That's the thing. Quite likely they may not need it, but my suggestion would be it would be a good idea to have demarcated, designated parking for these business users. Just my 2 cents.
So leave it as is.
I would suggest that.
I think it'll help the
Yeah,
businesses.
I think
too.
the applicant would like that as well.
And just a
People, if you want to run
question,
in and grab like a cup of coffee, I'm not going to go park in the back, I'll just go someplace else, so I think it's.
do we have any kind of statement in writing from the county that they are
Yeah.
on board with this, or to a degree?
Yeah, we don't have anything in writing right now. We could get that to you if necessary, but we also did submit the county application, and I think as part of that application or what have you, we can ask for the county to specifically mark that on the plans.
Not to mention that we don't have jurisdiction over it, and there's no ordinance, so it really doesn't matter what the county says.
Well, wait, the county, it is a county.
Well, that's between them, like, the town has, if there's no ordinance, the town cannot enforce it. So if the town can't enforce it, then it's really the agreement between
The county.
the owner and the county.
So wouldn't it be nice to just have a copy of that?
I mean, yes, but it shouldn't be a condition or anything like that, because.
But if we're going to approve a plan that kind of inherently states that those 3 spots are connected to the development, don't we want to know that the county is on board? 3 spots on Bloomfield Avenue connected to the businesses, don't we want to?
Well, see, that's going back then
Yeah,
to.
so the redevelopment plan, and Stan's gonna just clarify this, but it was just the creation itself of the 3 spaces. We are just doing this extra effort with the county to have the county say, okay, these are dedicated for this, but per the redevelopment plan, just the creation of the 3 extra spaces without any signage, we were entitled to this 3 parking space credit. But for us and for the operations and everything that we talked about, we would like that. And
Right.
It's an operational thing.
it's an operational.
So I remember when we were even, when I was writing this too, we thought that because the road is under the county's jurisdiction, it just made sense not writing that in the redevelopment plan. But like Lisa said, it is just that the 3 spaces can be provided because they're newly created.
Right. But going back to the original question, which was about enforcement, the applicant doesn't feel that there's a need for enforcement at this time, correct? So we don't need an ordinance.
Correct.
Right.
Yeah.
What I don't see on the site plans, though, are any signage proposed to reserve those spots. Is that something that?
Yeah, I think we need to work out the specific language with the
Right.
county, but that is the intent to have
Right.
3 spaces.
So, I mean, my thought is, if we get conform plans with the signage plan that reserves the spots, we've signed off on it, the county signs off on it. I think that's all we need at this point.
That makes sense. I mean, we can, yeah.
Yeah,
It's great.
But we don't need to do anything else in terms of
Right.
the council getting involved.
Right.
Yeah.
There's no actually known hardship. It's satisfying, these spots actually make less permanent parking spots on the space. I think it's more
But
impervious.
But yes, if the county approves the plans with the signage that reserves it for businesses,
That's an approval.
that's fine.
What if the county doesn't?
It's not part of the
That's
requirement.
That's exactly what I was saying.
Yeah.
So what the county does not matter to this board,
Technically, it does not,
Right.
it shouldn't.
because the
Yes.
county might say no.
Right,
Right.
but we don't think so, but it's not part of the
But the
redevelopment.
fact is that in front of the building, there are 3 extra spots. That's.
Newly created.
Newly created.
I think that's newly created spots.
There are not permanent ones built into this site because of that, and I'd say like that's an upside of
And
this
no, and
plan.
I want to emphasize it's newly created because, moving down, nobody should say, oh, we can use 3 spots outside our business. This is new because the egress was closed.
Yeah, so if anybody complains, say, get rid of your curb cut, then you can have those spaces, so I think.
Okay.
Which technically you can discussion about the spots
You
being.
can block your own curb cut.
No.
No, because I know up Bloomfield Avenue, we do have metered spots, so that wouldn't be,
I haven't heard anything about
Okay.
it.
and that could be a way to enforce, maybe 2-hour parking, so people don't just camp out there.
There are no meters up there, it's all 30-minute parking.
All 30-minute parking.
And maybe the signage would be from the county of Essex, rather than,
Oh, it definitely will be from the
Okay.
county residents, yes.
So that is the worst traffic lane in the world right now.
No, it is not.
Yes, it is.
I disagree.
You just don't
There
know.
are so many
close enough.
That is so not the worst.
It's the worst.
Try getting out of here. That's the worst.
You gotta speed.
All right, back on track.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. So I'm worried, I feel like these numbers are a little optimistic, so I want you to, you know,
What numbers?
the traffic numbers, the traffic generation numbers. What is the real day-to-day of, like, what do we got, 33 units? Like, what is the real patterns that we're looking at? What are the times, you know, that residents, aside from the peak times, you know, they'll be, just give me I want to know, dig deeper into these numbers and say, what does life look like Monday through Friday and on Saturday, Sunday?
Yeah, and those numbers are from the ITE, the Institute of Transportation Engineers. They're what we use to forecast them. Invariably, every time I've actually done on-the-ground counts and compared them to ITE in New Jersey at least, we're generating less than what they say. We have
Less than what they
mass
say.
transit availability, and since COVID, the numbers have come down, especially for residential. A lot more people are working from home, so that's probably an overestimation. But I always double check this. The census gives you the time that people leave home to go to work. So I go to the census tract that my project is in and make sure that there's nothing out of whack. And in this case, the busiest hour, it's about 33% of the people who leave will leave in the hour. So that's why people say, oh, how come 33 apartments, only 5 or 6 cars leave? It's because we're only looking at 1 hour. They're leaving between 6 a.m. and 10 a.m., coming back between 3 and 7. So that's where those numbers come from.
Because you knew, like, you actually, like, you spotted what's real, like, UPS truck's not gonna find this spot underneath, and they're gonna park on, they're gonna find the most expedient place, right? So,
Of course, yeah.
so, you know, the same thing with the regular folks coming in and out. Do you think that light would need to be changed because of this? And talking with the county, would they be, are they open to, you know, I don't know, changing the timing on that light if there is traffic?
Right?
Yeah, it's my understanding the county is upgrading some of these signals along Bloomfield Avenue that they should work better. They'll retime them, and then they'll hopefully have the better technology to detect vehicles and things like that. So hopefully that's going to improve. But just from this alone, even if this was a vacant site now, and the garden center wasn't there, and we were adding this, I don't think the numbers would be enough to, it would change the operation of the traffic lights significantly to the point where you wouldn't touch it.
Because there's school, I don't know if you calculated in this, but, you know, there's residential people, there's school up the road. I'm trying to think which way they would go. They could make a right turn, but they also could go out, park, and make a left. I'm not sure they would, but is that, have you see any concerns in that, or is that in your calculations, like school pickup and drop off, and then coming back home here?
Yeah, no, that would all be included, because these are research counts at other similar buildings throughout the country. So that's school activities involved. What those other ones that I base this on don't take into account is that there's an express bus to New York City right at the corner.
Right there.
So some people who drove in those other buildings are going to walk out the door and get on the bus. So you're going to have less traffic in that regard.
I just want you to know that she said that the traffic expert for Boswell had looked over this impact study and found it to be acceptable. I know that you have questions, I just wanted you to know.
I heard that.
Okay,
Yeah,
I didn't
no,
know if you had heard that.
Give me an A+
Books
on
don't
it, too.
drive, numbers don't
Smiley
drive,
face.
things drive. So I'm trying to get some insight into this.
I get it.
It is, it's not a pleasant, there's a lot of traffic there, and we're, significantly impacting this with, permanent new patterns. The shopping there is, seasonal, right? It's empty in December, so now, we're putting to me, the impact of this, I believe, great respect to the assessments here, has potential to be understated. So that's I'm voicing my concerns.
Craig, what is the threshold trip generation that DOT uses to decide whether or not a particular development is going to have a
They
significant
call it
impact.
significant, yeah. It's
It
100
would even
trips.
warrant a study. What's that threshold?
It's 100 trips per hour. Basically, if Bloomfield Avenue was a state highway under DOT jurisdiction, we would need a permit because we're changing the driveways. But if you weren't doing any work in the road and generating up to 99 more trips in and out in the peak hour, any peak hour, they'd say, they issue as a letter of no interest is what it's called. It doesn't generate enough traffic for them to bother looking at. Here, if you don't even consider the garden center on the site, we're at 56, so we're about half of what that significance is.
Do you want to continue? Did you finish your
That's
section?
all I had, yeah.
That's all you had? Any guys down here? Anyone else? Any concerns from the planning perspective? Okay, thank you very much.
No.
Oh, damn it. Any members of the public have any questions for this expert? Please come to the mic. Seeing none? Did I screw that up again?
No.
Okay. Thank you very much again. I'm closing public questions. What do you think?
No.
No.
Well.
We have one more witness.
We have one more witness.
You can go quick.
Let's take a vote. Let's get it done in 25 minutes and get out of here.
We'll be done in 10 affirmative.
Can you do
It's on you.
Are you a speed speaker?
Yeah.
No, we didn't start yet. No, the testimony after 10:30. And it starts.
We can take a vote on that.
Absolutely. I'm just,
All right.
I'm here.
Well, why don't we see if we can get you 25 minutes? All right?
There shouldn't be, if you're starting with them, you shouldn't have to.
There should be time.
What you should do is take a vote of the board to make sure that the board, because the rules say that there's no new testimony after 10 o'clock. So you should take a vote of the board to proceed or not to proceed. You don't have the authority to continue without the vote of the board.
That's right.
I move that we take a vote to decide whether.
That's not how you do it. You move to either keep the meeting open or you move to close the meeting. It's one or the other. You can't have it.
So the board will not hear a new application nor conduct new business or begin any new witnesses' testimony after 10 p.m. Board will not take testimony after 10:30 p.m. Time limit set forth hearing may be extended upon a vote of at least 2/3 of members hearing any such
Yes, I know.
application. So
He just wrote it.
yeah, I know. So let's make a motion to extend the time for testimony till 10:30 and then extend the meeting till 10:45 to take a vote. Is that's the motion?
Let's move our butts if we're going to do that. Okay, it's been seconded by Mr. Magarel.
You could just take a voice vote. You need 2/3 to say yes.
All in favor?
Raise your hand if you want.
We're just going to do it. Okay.
Let's-
Thank you.
Let's
Okay,
get-
our
let's
next
go.
witness is Greg Schweitzer, who's our project architect.
Can you state your name, spell your name and business address for the record, please?
Sure. My name is Gregory Schweitzer, Gregory, last name Switzer. My business is located at 7 Oak Place, Montclair, New Jersey.
And can you raise your right hand, Mr. Schweitzer? Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give is the truth?
I affirm so, yes.
Thank you.
And Greg, your license is current?
My license is current, yes.
Would you like us to go through his qualifications or do you accept it as an expert in architecture?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Greg, I have your slide presentation up, if we can mark the whole slide presentation as A2.
Yep.
And if we can start by discussing the exterior design of the building.
Sure, and to make this real quick, without going off track, I prepared some quick notes that will be very quick and easy to read them. What you're looking at now on the screen is the north and western elevations of the building.
Can you please try to speak up a little?
The mic's not working.
I don't think the mics are working.
This mic is working.
Okay,
Thank you.
perfect.
Okay, so I'll start with the primary frontages of the building, starting with the Bloomfield Avenue, also known as the northern elevation. This functions as the primary frontage of the building and is treated architecturally as the main commercial face of the project. The Park Avenue elevation, also known as the western elevation, serves as the secondary frontage and is intentionally activated along Bloomfield Avenue at the ground levels and also includes portion of retail storefronts with a large transparent glazing and pedestrian streetscape consistent with the goals of the redevelopment plan. Along Park Avenue, the building continues the commercial activation with storefront glazing, and there's a tenant fitness facility which provides activity and visibility along the frontage. This treatment avoids blank facades and ensures the building contributes positively to both the street environments. Next slide, please. Okay. What you see here is just a continuation of the design on the other elevations, the southern and eastern elevations. It's consistent with the materiality and the fenestration shown on the other two elevations. Next slide. Okay. What we're looking at now is the first floor. The first floor clearly denotes the demising of 3 commercial tenant spaces. The light blue area shows the residential entry and amenity spaces that are located in that area. Obviously, there's a sidewalk and a portion of the parking area that's separating the second condition, which has the fitness facility that I just spoke of. There's even a dog washing area over there for the tenants and storage for building maintenance and other operations. Next slide, please. The first floor, actually, my apologies, the second floor shows a typical configuration of residential units in the building. What we're looking at currently is a floor that has, let me just go this up. Okay, a total of 8 2-bedroom units with dens, 1 3-bedroom unit, 1 affordable 3-bedroom family unit, and 2 supportive housing units connected internally by a connected door. There is a space that is in between the 2 units, and that space is used for a 24-hour attendant to assist the supportive housing element. It is located in the plan and indicated in the pinkish colors. The yellow and the purple colors indicate the other apartment dwellings on the floor. Next one. Third floor, 9 2-bedroom units and 3 3-bedroom units. There's a fluctuation in color between the yellow, the dark gold, and the light gold, just simply to help you denote the difference between adjacent units of similar type. The purple is a 3 apartment unit. Apartment, yes. Same with the 4th floor. The 4th floor shows the same. What we have here on the 4th floor is 1 1-bedroom unit with a den, 5 2-bedroom units with dens, and 3 3-bedroom units. Again, purple indicating 3 units, the yellow indicating 2-bedroom units, and the blue is indicating the single bedroom unit.
And there's also the rooftop amenity space.
There is a rooftop amenity space that is open to all tenants. It's a common support area to the building.
Is that available to everyone in the building?
For the residents of the building.
That's what I mean.
Yes.
Including
Including
the affordable.
the supportive and affordable housing, all residents of the building. When I speak residents, it's everyone in the building.
And what type of amenities are proposed?
In that area, it's a paved patio area, soft seating, some flexible seating, perhaps some umbrellas. The building will maintain and provide a couple of grills outside in that area. That will be the only area, in fact, in the entire property where there would be any outdoor collection of people and the ability to use the outdoor grilling areas. And what you see here is just a simple roof plan. What we provided is a diagram. The dark gray indicates the solid flat roof areas. The white areas are just the areas that pop up just a little bit above some of the accented design features that we have on the elevations of the building. And then in the center, you see the series of little circles with the squares. That's just representative of condenser units. And around it, there's a screen of which conceals that, so it's not visible from the street. By the way, the building is 100% fully sprinklered and has a fully automatic and monitored fire alarm system.
The height of that screen, what is the height of that screen that's proposed around the units?
Well, generally speaking, we would put a screen about 5 feet to 6 feet, but it really depends on the final equipment design, and clearly that's something that we can pass
But it will
along.
comply with the redevelopment.
Absolutely, yes.
Because that was goes to the question I had about the visibility, especially because of the slope of the road.
Yes.
The lower level, it doesn't matter, but just the higher end of the, along Bloomfield, just concerned about the visibility.
Understood. And just keep in mind that this is pushed back quite a bit from the Bloomfield Street elevation and as well the park elevation. So it's pretty concealed, even by a portion of the pop-up roofs that you see that surround it on the perimeter of the building.
The mechanicals are placed in the center of the roof.
Absolutely, yes. Mhm.
What kind of system is going to support the roof gardens? With respect to weight, drainage?
I didn't quite hear his question.
What's going to support where the roof?
The green root system, like what sort of system is going to water and allow for runoff of any of the planting, the green roots?
Okay, so are you talking about the terraces that we have along the front where the landscaping comes in and it kind of drapes the side of the building? Yeah, yeah, that would be managed and maintained by the building support staff. However, I would assume that it would be a very basic, simple drip system that would water and irrigate the plants.
So that sits on top of?
On top of pavers.
On top of?
On top of, yes, concrete pavers, yes.
It's on the second floor.
But there,
If you go to the elevation or the perspective of the building, it gives you a much clearer image of what we're talking about. If you could see in this perspective, there are a whole bunch of terraces that step back from the building, which was in keeping with the master plan, creating really nice visual breaks and changes in plane and materials to make the building look interesting. So at the second floor and at the third floor, and even at the perhaps even the roof, there would be some green planting materials. There would be in separate planter containers, and that would be resting on concrete pavers, and it would receive a drip irrigation watering system.
This isn't just the model, right? This is what, like when you go to a condo and you see the model and this isn't included, this isn't.
That's included. That is included.
And to Greg's question, the brick.
Yes.
In the angle, in the pictures of the east-west elevation
Yes.
pictures, it looks orange. In this picture, no, see, that's orange. No orange brick, right?
Yeah, it's,
Red, like a red brick.
understood. And to satisfy your curiosity about the materials, I have a box on the table back here.
Oh, that's.
And we have the actual materials and have provided samples that we can leave here for the board.
Thank you.
That's in the after part.
Yes, the other one.
Question on the supportive housing unit.
Yes, sir.
Can you just clarify where the connecting ones are? I see some reddish ones, but there's like a third one in the corner.
Sure. Let me move to my plan. Okay, so if you look at the drawing, the two on the top, starting from the left corner, moving to right, those two are the supportive housing units. And as stated, there's a connector to where they'll have 24-hour support, and that person will actually monitor the occupants of this space and support, and conversely the same on this side.
And that's the office, right?
That is correct.
And is that for physical support, mental support? Is that like, or is it open, like this could be, what's the applicable use of those?
Well, am not certain per se what that is, but supportive housing, whatever support that provides, that's what that person does. My guess would be if there's someone that needs some physical assistance, there would be someone there. If there's someone there that, needs to be monitored, make sure that they're taking their medication, that there's someone there to make sure that that is being done. It's that sort of thing. Yes. Yes, Madam Chairman.
No. I'm just waiting for you to get to my favorite part.
Okay, perfect. And okay, so okay, perfect. So what we are showing you is a landscaping plan that we've prepared. We're doing a total of 390 shrubs and trees, 242 perennial plantings, and all of this is supported with a drip irrigation system. The plants that you see there are clearly identified with color and species. Most of these were decided upon to ensure that there's some visual interest, and it's constantly changing seasonally, so you just don't have a green patch. There's pops of color coming up around the space. The plants that you see here, we did take an advisement with the issue of putting in trees that were deer resistant, so we tried to make sure that.
So you still have American arborvitae listed on this? I think you meant it was supposed to be green giant?
It is supposed to be the green giant arborvitaes, that is correct.
That's deer.
Yes.
We already discussed that.
Yes, we did. And on the side, you'll see some of the landscaping materials as well, of which I brought samples of those of which we have. The others are pretty quite simple, where we're using permeable tiles for the sinuous path that takes you along that setback walk along Park. And we have the fieldstone, Pennsylvania fieldstone that we're using for the retaining walls at the corner, anchoring the site as it currently is now. And I have samples of that here as well.
Sam, do you want to ask some questions that you might have had?
Yes, in my review.
From your review, yeah.
So, on the second floor, unit number 12, there's a 10 by 14 feet den and a 9 feet 8 inches by 12 feet bedroom. The den seems larger than the bedroom, so, what's the rationale behind that?
Quite honestly, we also noticed that and very pleased that you pointed that out to us. And unfortunately, they were incorrectly labeled, so we'll just switch the two.
So then what I would suggest, obviously, a den, there are different ways, right? A den cannot be converted into a third bedroom in this case. There are ways of doing that. One is closet, but Wayfair has wonderful Wayfair's that website, you can get a cupboard or that's what I'm trying to say.
Okay.
So that's one way. The second way is you have a larger door opening, right? As an architect, So whatever you can show us where, we ensure that it cannot be potentially converted into a third bedroom. That was the only concern.
No problem. And it was never our intent to.
I know, but
yes.
But it's not your intent, but whoever comes in.
Understood.
So that was number one. Then I had another question about the repurposed wrought iron railing. This engineering plans talk about having that wrought iron railing on top of the retaining wall, and we have like fence height and things like that in section 7.3. And all I want you to tell us, because we didn't see the wrought iron reference, I didn't see it. So basically, whether it would be in compliance with the zoning ordinance, or do you require a waiver from that, or a variance in this case? So,
to my knowledge, the wrought iron railing was removed from the project, so that is no longer a contributing element to the project.
Oh, I thought it was just removed. east side, the whole thing?
No, there's the wrought iron that's in front that you, like, if you drive past today, you see that was going to be repurposed and placed elsewhere, but after seeing this comment and the height, potentially, we're going to remove it from the plan.
Total.
Yes,
Totally, so,
Yeah.
because I think, I believe there was another, yes, that says, it looks like, if I look at the engineer's drawings, the site plan drawings, it shows a retaining wall along Park Avenue, right? And then they show a wrought iron fence, so that will be removed too, correct?
Removed, yeah.
Yeah, because it's 3 foot is the requirement.
Yes.
So are we all okay with that?
So, what do we need the wrought iron for?
Nostalgia?
Oh, nostalgia. I'm sorry. Okay. I just don't want to push for it. Thank you.
All right, hold on. So a little confusion. If it triggers a variance, the client would like to retain it,
Okay.
but does not want to, if it's an issue for the board, we'll remove it. But if it's a non-issue, we'll request a waive with the variance if necessary.
Deviation.
It's up to you.
What are you nodding at?
You
Tell
want
me.
Yes.
All right, and we want to keep it.
We want it.
Okay.
Does the architect like it? I
Um,
want it, yeah, all right.
Yeah, go on.
Okay.
No, I don't have a problem, guys, it's just that they need to grant it.
So,
Okay.
Thank you. I have a question, because at the beginning, when you opened up the entire evening, you said something about fully comporting, but we're gonna change the wall. So what did you mean by that? You said that we're gonna,
Yeah, I'll clarify that. So that was with respect to the height of the retaining wall in the front yard that.
which is on Park Street, and curves around to
Yeah, so
Bloomfield?
speaking of the wall itself, what's permitted is 4 feet, and we were at 4.5,
Okay.
so we're going to reduce that to the 4 feet. to be
Okay.
compliant. Yeah.
I just wanted to understand what that was.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was.
Because I don't think you ever explained that.
Oh, I apologize.
That's okay, it's okay. Sam, I'm sorry.
No, I think that was it, everything else was covered in your testimony, like mechanical equipment was.
You said you had questions for the architect?
Can we, not define, but clarify where the wrought iron will be
Yeah.
and what height, whatever, so that I have something
Yeah.
to write in my
Yeah.
resolution?
Something?
Well, is it existing on the plans?
It is on the site.
It is, it's on the site plan, yeah.
And it's going to
On
remain
some.
then?
It's all remain?
So it's going to remain?
Yeah. So
Okay.
what was shown on the site plans will remain. We are not withdrawing it from the
Okay.
application.
Can you
That's all I
tell
was-
me what sheet it's on? Can whoever did these civil plans cite the sheet page? That would just be helpful.
I think probably a site.
It's on the site plan sheet, it's primarily by, yes,
Okay.
primarily by
Do you
Park
wanna address
Avenue
that?
entrance, or Park, yeah, yes.
Site plan sheet 2, I believe is what was said.
Sheet 2 of 7 is the utility plan. Are we talking architectural sheets?
No,
No,
site plan.
SP2,
SP2.
sheet 2 of 8.
Yeah, it's not the too good. That's the problem. I have sheet 2 of 7 here. I don't know.
It's on SP2.
SP2.
It's called out to remain.
Rating and utility?
Says repurpose existing wrought iron railing.
So that's all, that's staying, so it's not changed, that's all we need, right?
Are we on the same site plan sheet here? SP2.
Yeah.
It's in here.
That's not shown.
Repurpose
There
existing
it is.
wrought iron railing. It's along the entrance to Park Avenue, on Park Avenue, at the top of the wall there.
Going south.
Going in both directions, actually, it frames that entrance.
The entrance into Park, the ingress egress point from the Park Avenue entrance.
I know I'm on the wrong side.
I can show you mine. Here, you can see it even on here on the screen, it's right here. Repurpose existing wrought iron railing over there.
Okay.
And before anything else, this is going to be A2
Yes.
from the architect?
I just have one super quick
Yeah.
question. Preface it by saying that I think the building architecture looks really, really nice. Is it, or was there any effort made for it to be LEED certified, or did you come close to it being LEED certified?
We have made no effort to make it LEED certified. However, most of our practice is around selecting materials and finishes that are consistent with LEED practices.
Is there thought to disconnection of the leader pipes to run? I know that you can't do them all, but some of them could probably run into the gardens. Sheet flow into the gardens. Disconnecting leader pipes is sort of like a good practice.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
So, anything else right now?
I just want to say the design is thoughtful and well presented.
I don't know if that's a joke.
So,
You said awful?
that's thoughtful.
Oh, I heard awful too. I'm like,
My heart just went to the floor.
I'm like all over the town website.
And he said it with such a straight face. I was like, oh my gosh. It's late. Understood. And sugar on the table.
Before we close, I just want to open to the public if they have any questions for the architect. If any members of the public have any questions for the architect, please step up to the mic.
Any comments?
Comments are not open yet. We do that after we close the application, and that's not happening right now. So can you come back next month? Okay.
Can we we're done with our affirmative testimony, so I mean, we're.
Not quite. Because something is going to happen between Alvaro and your engineer in terms of checking some numbers and all of that. And I think that they should be present for the next meeting.
Could we do that as a condition of approval between
No.
the engineers?
No, absolutely not, because this board has to approve the stormwater management plan, and that's just the way it is. We don't say as a condition of approval, we'll work things out in the back room.
But the difference with this application is it is compliance with the ordinance and with the state ordinance for stormwater management, and what the client is doing.
We don't know that yet.
Well,
We
But that
don't
would
know
be a
that yet.
condition. If it doesn't, then they don't have the approval.
right.
Well, so what is you don't want to bring anyone back? You don't
Well-
want to continue this?
Well, I think we presented the application, we agreed to a number of conditions which were great and thoughtful by the board. This is a really technical engineering stormwater.
I think you're
that-
rushing a closing argument right now, and we're not ready to do that. So-
I mean, you can have your own practices, obviously, but this is an engineering issue to be worked out between engineers, which I typically see as conditions of approval, and it's our position that the stormwater plan today is compliant.
I don't buy that yet. I have to hear that after thoughtful work is done in his office, once he gets that.
Can we take a poll of the board as to whether this continues?
I really don't think that it's up to you to ask the board if they should grant you conditions of approval without hearing a final say-so by the engineer.
I thought that this was already agreed to as a condition of approval, but.
I don't know what we have not been given 100% solid understanding of whether the stormwater management system works the way we were told. It could work by your engineer. So Alvaro he had asked at the site plan meeting to please send him the file so that he could run it on his system, which never happened. And had that happened, this wouldn't be happening.
So, I mean, there was sworn testimony as to the system that was used and the model that was used, and we will provide that backup data, and it seems that it was acceptable to the board's engineer. As far as trying to remodel a system, we're in compliance. What we're trying to do is, you know,
But wait, we're not done testimony yet, because he said that he was gonna attempt to do some groundwater recharge.
Right.
So I'm not willing to just say, as a condition of approval, we don't need to see anything again.
but
So-
it was a good faith effort because it is in compliance today with today's stormwaters. They were looking at the environmental commission's recommendations, and we were going to take it under consideration and try to
But
make it work.
taking it under consideration means that you have to come back and discuss it again. So that's just,
But the condition was,
no,
because
this
it was
is not a
compliant,
condition.
it was.
We don't know that it's compliant.
No, it is compliant.
We don't know that it is compliant because he hasn't run the numbers on his system. And he's not convinced that it's 100% compliant either. I mean, would you like to give your opinion on it?
I wish to run the model and see the inputs.
So please, stop
I
pushing,
just,
you know,
it's
like,
very unusual.
it's not unusual for the board to hear the final say-so, and if there are any changes, I mean, you could be upset with me, and that's fine, I don't care, because the bottom line is we want to make sure that the system runs the way that it's supposed to run, and if there are going to be modifications to that system insofar as groundwater recharge, and there are going to be perforations in the pipe that run off to what could be a faulty storm drain on Park Street, then we want to see the new calculations. And I think that that has to be brought back before this board with those new calculations, if any. And we have to hear the testimony on it. And that will be that. I mean, I don't see reason to argue against that. When
I'm
you
not
say-
trying to be argumentative, it's just, this is very highly unusual in my experience of appearing before boards and having such a technical engineering issue when there's sworn testimony as to what the system was used and they were going to provide backup data, but it's the pleasure of the board.
I don't see a problem coming back and sewing it up.
It's just another month, and, you know.
It's not another month. It's sewing up one issue, and then you can give your closing argument, and we can be done, okay? So I don't understand why you're giving so much pushback about something that is going to change. You're making modifications to a stormwater management system, and you don't want to talk about it in public. I'm not okay
It's
with
not about talking about it in public, it's about where we are today. It's the end of March, we're not going to be back here until the end of April, then at the end of May, the resolution is going to be adopted, and then we're down X number of months before we can submit for resolution compliance and put a shovel in the ground on this project that we're hoping to get done. So that's the reason for my comments, and I don't mean to be argumentative at all, so I don't mean to be disrespectful. So
Lisa,
please
I
don't.
will make best efforts if you can get a report to Alvaro as soon as possible. I'll make best efforts and have a resolution prepared at the next meeting in anticipation of the board's action. And
That would be terrific.
we can, so this way, you're accommodated, but, you know, I recognize the chair's concern. This board has been burnt in the past, and by people who are saying in good faith they're going to come back, oh, and then we couldn't do the new calculations, or we couldn't accommodate, we couldn't do this. So I understand fully where the chair is coming from. So I'll have the resolution prepared in anticipation of what the board's actions will be. It would help if Alvaro could happen sooner rather than later,
Yeah.
so I can incorporate that
Yeah.
into the resolution.
100%, thank you, and that would be wonderful.
Okay.
And thank you all for your time.
Thank you.
Any new business?
Wait, if we are adjourning and carrying, can we do it to a date certain?
Without notice.
Without notice, yes.
Just say,
So what date, though?
just state the date and the time.
It will be April 23rd at 7 PM. I think April 23rd.
We're now starting at 7 p.m.
Yes. We do have a matter that will precede your matter, but because I think it should be a relatively simple, straightforward redevelopment plan.
Oh, that's it.
Today.
redevelopment plan for 251 and a half. And briefly, guys, we will have a master plan update of our OSRP, where we're just wrapping the Rossi properties back into the recreation plan. So it's a master plan update, it will be noticed as such, and it will probably take 3 minutes, because we already adopted the Rossi, the updated Rossi.
Yeah, I just want to make sure that it's stated again. So this application is being carried to April 23rd at 7 PM in this chambers, and there will be no further notice provided to the public.
That's correct.
Thank you. Again, thank you for your time and comments. And we will get all those reports to you as soon as possible.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
Yeah, motion to adjourn.
Aye.
So moved.
Dee Dee, put that on the resolution list.
I got it. Highlighted.